What's going on, everybody? Cali Death Podcast back once again, episode 14. Thank you, Christopher Beadle, for that wonderful fucking intro. Got you out this time, not in the middle of the podcast this time. Thanks very much, dude. It fucking rips. I love to hear it every time, dude. So today, with myself, the resident homies, Casey, Joel, and Joseph, we got Nate Vennarucci from Ontogeny, Anomalous, and we're going to be talking some old school Cali death scene going back 15 plus years with you, dude. Oh, yeah. Soul Asunder, dude. We're going to go back, way back to that shit.
There we go.
Yeah, dude. What's going on, brother?
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me. It's an honor to be on the podcast. I'm a long time listener since it started. So
fuck yeah, dude. Yeah, we talked about it for a little bit. We knew we'd squeeze you in here. So
right on.
Here we are, dude. Fuck yeah.
Fuck cool. Yeah, the titans of Cali death metal hosting this.
I don't know about that. I think we got the Titans on for the first few episodes before.
Dude, Deeds, that shit was so awesome. You know,
fuck yeah, dude. I mean, if you think about it, like the timing was so perfect for us to start it, them doing their album, like it was just such a natural episode one, you know.
Fuck, and the album rips, dude. That new album is so fucking good. But Deeds was like, hearing that band for the first time, that was like, what is that? I heard Path of the Weakening. I remember the way they sold it to me is I went to Amoeba and they went, that's like Cannibal Corpse but on crack. And I was like, well, fuck yeah, that sounds awesome. I like that. So they put it in and I couldn't believe it. It was so awesome. So Deeds of Flesh was a first time. So that was a great first episode for sure.
Yeah. It's a turning point for a lot of us, dude. I mean, you come across all the like heavy hitters, you know, what your Cannibal Corpse, Morbid Angel, Deicide, all that shit. And you fall in love with it. You get your real connection with death metal. And then you start digging a little bit deeper and you start finding these bands like Deeds of Flesh, Disgorge, and many others. But, you know, Cali Death Podcast, dude. So yeah, dude, it's cool that we could have you on and have some stories from back in the day when we used to play shows together. You know, both Soul Asunder and Ontogeny have opened up for both the bands that I've been in. So we got some stories there. But yeah, dude, like we always do, take us back to the beginning. How old were you when you picked up that fucking guitar and became that prodigy shredder you are, dude?
Yeah, I'm definitely not a prodigy. That's for sure. So,
well, yeah, you were. Now you're a master. So,
still not even close. But like, so me with music, I guess I always grew up hearing my dad when I was like 4, singing like Phil Collins and the Beatles, and just in his car. And I always remember my dad sounding exactly like the guy on the radio. No matter who was singing, he could manipulate his voice to sound just like. And I thought that was amazing. So it always made me just listen to music with my dad all the time. So that brought in. Then my brother got a guitar, and I was like, well, I'm jealous as shit. He has a guitar. He's way cooler than me now. I got nothing. So when I was 7 years old, I got a $20 acoustic guitar at an antique store, and I wanted to learn everything I could that I had in front of me. And my dad played guitar, so I learned all the Beatles songs because my dad knew all the Beatles songs. So the Beatles for me, you mentioned Paul McCartney earlier when we were first starting. That was huge, you know, listening to actual records my dad had and playing them, and my dad telling me the stories of him listening to it. That just got me so involved with music at an early age.
I'm sorry to cut you off, dude, but real quick about your dad. You don't have to go into it right now, but I just remembered when I came over to your house to do my first jump at the recording for Odious, you had told me that somebody had found a recording that he did back in the day. And they restored it. So let's get to that at some point.
Absolutely, yeah. That's definitely like coming full circle. That
cool.
Dad inspiration. So yeah, so my dad started that inspiration with music, and then my brother, like I said, he was like the one I looked up to and thought was the coolest guy in the world. And he showed me Metallica. I remember him putting Metallica 1 in like my headphones and hearing that, and coming from the Beatles and hearing 1 starting with like clean guitars. It was kind of the perfect transition. And then once the metal started, I was like, I didn't know what to do with it. It was kind of too much energy for a little kid to take in, but it immediately made me go, oh, well, that's it. I'm learning every single Metallica song. So I learned every single Metallica song, and was I got my first electric guitar at like 8 years old. So I wanted to learn every Metallica song. That was my goal. I learned every Metallica song. I played Metallica songs at talent shows at my school. It was my shit. And then I
Hell yeah.
heard Sepultura and I heard Max Cavalera growl for the first time. That was kind of like, holy shit, that's a
Hmm.
different thing. Sepultura, that guy's not growling. He's melodic singing kind of. And then it, I heard Ace Ventura, Cannibal Corpse, and I just went, there's a whole other thing that I don't know about.
Yeah.
Obviously, like there's a genre I don't know about, and so I bought Tomb of the Mutilated, the censored version, and that kind of, because that was the only thing I could find. I didn't know about Amoeba Records when I was like 9 years old. So
Yeah.
discovering Amoeba Records was the biggest thing ever because they had a whole section to it was called black metal, but it had like death metal, black metal,
Yep.
everything
All
in
the
it.
way tucked in the back right corner.
Yeah, and there was two dudes who would do the recommendations. There was Brandon and there was Steveville. Those were the two dudes, and that was from an earlier podcast. You guys, I think, said the names wrong. By the way,
Oh, okay. Okay.
it was Steveville and Brandon was my shit because he showed me Necrophagist when
That's
he
him,
was just
dude.
playing to a drum machine, and he
Hmm.
said, "This shit's gonna change your life, dude." And I put that in, and I went, "This it did. Yeah, that
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
dude. I forget
incredible."
what we named him. What is his name? What's the name of the dude that
That was
recommended
his name
it?
was Brandon, and the other guy was Steveville. Steveville would do all the black metal and like satanic stuff.
Yeah, dude. All
Yeah,
right. It's all coming back, dude. Yeah.
yeah.
Same dude turned us on to Necro as well. Yep.
Yeah, he turned me on to a lot of shit. And my brother and my brother's friend Mike and our friend Mike, they were just so into that scene, and they were old enough to go to the shows. So a lot of the shows I wasn't old enough to get into when the scene was first starting in the Bay Area, as far as like the early 90s. A lot of 21 and up shows. I couldn't get into a lot of them, but I was lucky in my first shows to get some pretty good ones. I saw Opeth on their first US tour
Ooh.
Oh
play at the
wow.
Pound, with 200 people there, and that was like I think 9 or 10 years old when I saw that, and it was unbelievable. And I got to talk with Peter from Opeth afterwards, and I saw In Flames in Oakland at a warehouse. And I could only go to shows that like my dad would take me to. So my dad was going to see all these bands. My dad's seen Opeth. He's seen Cannibal Corpse. Cannibal Corpse I got away with because that one that's a rough sell to parents.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I've been lucky to have the coolest parents ever. That's really what it is. My dad, I remember just him looking at some of my death metal CDs, looking at the imagery, and just saying like, "Are you all right?" First off, like, you're cool, right? This is entertainment, right? That's what he wanted to make sure you know. It's like this isn't real shit. These people are doing this for entertainment, and he said, as long as you know that and you're appreciating guitar playing, I'm cool with you doing this. And I think that's a great approach to it. It was educating you, because saying never listen to this would just make you go, well, I'm finding that. I want to listen to that thing.
Most
Yeah.
definitely.
So lucky I had great parents and a great brother just showing me music and just showing me endless music. So I was just practicing guitar all the time and hearing my brother, he had a band that was way good. So hearing that and just being inspired by his projects and the music I was hearing. But it took me forever to find a band. I think I think before, like, I know I'm skipping a lot of inspirations because for me music is just all over the place inspiration wise. I can recount so many things that I've heard that just blew my mind. Meshuggah, when I first heard it, was the it still is my favorite thing in the world, but it blew my mind when I first heard it. And the way my brother showed it to me was, learn this song and I'll show you the notes. It was 3 notes, and I was like, 3 notes, nothing. I got this. And I sat in that room for 15 minutes, and I was just like, I don't understand what's going on, and I know it's really cool, and I want to figure out what's going on. So
What album was he showing you?
he showed me None, and it
Okay.
was
Mm.
the first song off None, and it's didn't didn't
Yeah, yeah.
didn't that riff, and I understand it now, and it's my sound check song forever, because it was that riff that made me just appreciate rhythm a lot, and I started noticing rhythms, and I started noticing what I liked about bands, like even Cannibal Corpse. For being a straightforward death metal band, they kind of don't know they're doing odd time signatures a lot of the times, but like on Bloodthirst
Oh
especially,
yeah.
those grooves on Bloodthirst that type of stuff, rhythmic stuff was always would catch my ears a lot. I love playing with rhythms and messing with them and feeling things in different time signatures. And so that's kind of my flow, and I'm talking too much. So yeah.
No, that's awesome, man. It's so funny.
Perfect.
Your story like is almost identical to mine. Like it was my dad who's a bass player listening to nothing but classic rock was a kid, and then my brother was like, "Hey, here's this Metallica album," and like showed me Metallica, and then I went to Sepultura, and like like that's almost identical. I mean, I had a '90s alternative phase, you know, that when my brother moved away, where I
Well, I still
was
love
looking
all
for
that shit, to be honest.
me too.
I love a lot of music, and I always have. And music to me, even like before, originally in the death metal scene in California too, it was like I'm a tech death guy. That's what I like. I like tech death. I like brutal tech death. Or you like melodic metal, right? Or you like it was very kind of separated. Now it's they're intersecting each other a lot. Melodies influencing everything, and everything's intersecting, which is awesome. But before it was very separated. So uh I feel like our progression, in your progression, my progression, makes it so you appreciate a lot of shit because you
Yeah.
progressed, and you still always. I hear Alice in Chains and I go, man, that shit's badass, you know.
Oh
I
yeah.
and you guys were talking shit about Corn, and I got a real
No, no.
problem.
First of all, I fucking sharpied on my backpack. Follow the leader as it was written, exactly with the backwards R's and shit. And I got ripped on so hard at school. It was my first day of high school. I showed up with a follow the leader sharpie onto my backpack. Like, yeah, I'm gonna show these motherfuckers what's up. And everyone's just like, "What the fuck? You like Corn? Like, fucking lame." And I was like, when it just made me more angsty. I'm like, "Ooh, I like it even more now."
Well, like for me, I heard Corn at the same time I heard Metallica, so it was of the first
Okay.
stuff I heard. So I
Mm,
heard that 7 string guitar was one thing that was just like, that sounds
yeah.
cool as shit. It's seven
Game
string.
changer.
And then, you know, when you're a little kid and hearing some dude cry like a little kid is awesome. You know, it's like you can relate to that when you're a little kid, especially a lot. But it was just raw and heavy at the time. But then I heard Meshuggah, and I was like, oh, that's 7 string raw and heavy. And so but I can still appreciate it for what it was. But you guys are talking shit about Twist. I got a real problem with that.
Dude, that was
Because
my first album. Life is Peachy was the first album I ever got. I mean, from Korn. My friend traded it for me, for a tape player, for a cassette player. He's like, "I'll give you this fucking black CD with Korn on it for fucking this tape player." And I was like, "All right." And that like totally changed my life. I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And
yeah,
went to actually the 7 string wise, it was Korn and then Fear Factory. I was like, with the kind of the 7 string stuff, I was like, that's. And then I went and bought one like because of Fear Factory, like when Obsolete came out.
yeah.
Remember hearing that, just going like, "Holy shit! I've never
Obs-
heard something so heavy." You know?
Obsolete was definitely the like heaviest shit I had heard at the
Yeah,
time when I heard it.
I
yeah,
thought the manufacturer was
yeah,
amazing. Like the manufacturer kind of and Meshuggah were in the same syncopated bass
yep,
drum, and they were so solid with each other. That's what I remember of that, because it sounded more solid than what I was hearing from like Sepultura and
yeah. It's
Metallica.
more raw.
It was
Yeah,
so precise that playing, which kind of brings you in a new level of, man, I got to practice more. That's why like now people are hearing perfect albums. So their base for I got to practice is perfect.
yep,
So they're getting way too good, and
yeah,
it's a real
exactly.
problem.
Yeah, that's like what I brought up on other podcasts. People are like starting kids are like 12-year-old kids are starting with Necrophagus and Spawn of Possession. That's like
Yeah,
their Metallica album that their brother gave them. It's like Spawn
yeah,
of Possession and Meshuggah now, and that's like where they start. And then they're like, all right, well, what the fuck do I need? Like now I need to
yeah,
just make it like in most inhuman thing in on Earth now.
yeah,
Yeah, they're like Origin by senior year or something.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And
But
Gravity
like
blast and fucking
tech before, like hearing Dying Fetus killing on adrenaline. When I first heard the sweeping stuff, I was like, "That's the most tech thing I've ever heard in my entire life." And then
yeah, yeah,
I heard like Iniquity. I don't have you ever heard of
yeah, yeah.
Iniquity?
I know
hell yeah.
Iniquity. Yeah, yeah.
Like the album Five Across the Eyes. I still love that
Yep.
album. It's you listen to it now, it sounds like not that tech at all comparatively to what you're hearing, but back then it was just this is unreal tech stuff. I don't know if I'll ever get to this level of playing. So uh that it's just the progression now is so much. Where is it going to end?
I
Yeah.
know.
You know?
So
Like
people are
drums
gonna
are just double bass. It's going to be like a single. It's going to be two notes. It's going like B. because like on so fast, it's just gonna be like that's just gonna be a frequency now.
There's a dude who plays with like those duelist pedals.
Oh, those quad ones or the
Yeah, and he can play like 240 BPM, and he plays them on a duelist. So it's the stupidest thing ever.
yeah, it's just a hum.
That
It
like
just sounds like a hum.
Hanker or something? Is
I
that the
can't.
name of that?
I have no idea.
That's the
but
project I know where it definitely just goes into a note. Yeah.
yeah, it sounds like a hummingbird. Like
Yeah.
at points.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
Jesus. Where do you go with guitar? Like from that, I don't know. It's like there's you're seeing like a kind of weird movements pop up with, especially with Meshuggah, like Gent came from that. They're kind of doing more rhythmic, chuggy, technical stuff. It's not really my total cup of tea, but it's you're seeing the tech world kind of branch off into these, and Meshuggah has a lot to do with that because they're more going towards odd timings and stuff like that. Because the sweeping's been done, the shredding super fast solos have been done. Like you gotta fuck up rhythms now, I guess, is kind of where tech has kind of been going for what I've been seeing.
So to me, I always distinguish Meshuggah from what is Gent. To me, because I heard Meshuggah so long ago, and what became Gent is just, it's not Meshuggah. And as cliche as it sounds, metal is an art form that displays anger sometimes and angst. And to me, Meshuggah is great at that. Chaos Fear to me that's when you're pissed off and you put Chaos Fear on, you're ready to kick through a door. Sometimes you may not want to do that. And sometimes it doesn't make you feel like listening it to me. It's just like, you take solace in it. You take it all in. Ion Dissonance, the album Solace, that's another one. Those are just such visceral, pound you in the face albums that you feel. And Gent to me isn't that. And I'm not talking shit about Gent. It is what it is. It's more popish and cleaned.
Yeah, it's like comparing Black Sabbath to Korn. It's like Korn is probably there because of Black Sabbath, but they're completely different bands. But they are directly influenced by each other. Or by Black Sabbath. So
I will say a big thing for me, like playing wise, was always the people I was playing with. I can recall meeting people in my life that I was so young that they wouldn't play in bands with me. So when I met my buddy Chaz, who started Solus Under, the band that I was in, he was the first one to really explain to me what polyrhythms are. And I remember him doing it on a keyboard, and he sat me down and he said, I want you to hold this 4 count for me on this keyboard. Hit this note here. And I was like, okay, cool. And then he started hitting other stuff in a different time signature, and he noticed I was rushing. And he really hammered in like, hey, why are you rushing? You gotta stay on your thing. Don't listen to me. Stay on yours. So I always had that. So Chaz, if he's listening, Chaz was huge for me musically. He made me understand what I was doing polyrhythmically. And then playing and just getting good at guitar, listening to tech music and learning on my own, I met we have Anomalous with, which is the guitar player Max Seaman, he's still to this day the best guitar player I've ever met, and probably will ever meet, to be honest. The guy, everyone who sees him play in person says like, why are you here? What are you doing here?
What's he doing now? What's that guy doing now? I've wondered that actually kind of recently.
He's raising a family in Washington. He still plays. He's still it's weird to know, like, there's the best guitar player ever just sitting in a house somewhere, and there's a million of them too. There's there's so many people that are great at guitar that don't do anything with it, or don't get out, or not necessarily don't do anything with it, because
Mike Gilbert.
Music is very personal, right? For me, like, I've really, getting older especially, you really start thinking of music differently, like, because you work a lot. I work full time. I've had 2 jobs. So you really start to see, like, are you passionate about this, or is this something that you just did for fun when you were a kid, or whatever? And for me, I know it's something that it's a passion of mine, because I'm still doing it. I've had 0 success wise, basically. Not 0. We have some fans, but what I'm saying is, like, I'm not making shit for money, obviously, or anything.
Yeah.
We didn't go on any good tour or anything. So yeah, it's just, music should be very personal. It should be for you in a lot of ways, and people who come along for the ride, fuck yeah, that's awesome. But it should always just, you make what you want to hear.
Yeah, dude. Just natural expression of yourself, dude, through art. That's all it's been to me, being a part of it is just all about the passion. I gave up the chasing the money aspect about it after the first tour I went on, you know?
Yeah.
The reality check tour.
Dude, I knew it wasn't about the money. Showing my dad like the things I was listening to, and him going like, "Are you sure you don't want to play something that will make you money?" And me saying like, Absolutely not. I want to play this thing that I'm excited to listen to." And I'd buy albums and look at the cover the entire way on the bus and get home and be so excited. And I still do this where I just listen to an album. That Deeds of Flesh album, when it came out, I sat down and I listened to that album and I took it in like a little kid listening to Deeds of Flesh, just the same way. It was music is an experience for me in a lot of ways. Some people experience it differently. Some people, it inspires them to create. It's a background for creating art. For me, I'm involved with it. I can't not notice music. If I'm in a department store and it's playing, it drives me nuts if it's something that's annoying. Like I went to a pho restaurant where we sat down and they had the same song. It was a 2-minute song, this epic like opera song, 2-minute long, repeating over and over again for an hour. And no one at the table was noticing it. And 40 minutes in, I was like, I'm losing my mind. How are you guys doing this? This is crazy. The song's been on forever, you know. And then my wife started noticing it, and it was just funny, you know. But yeah, so music for me is an experience, and I like to keep it that way. And that's why it takes so long to make albums, because I make them right for me. I make them right for what I want to hear, and my standards of this is what I want to put out there because it's what I want to hear right now. It's what I envisioned right now. So
Definitely.
Yeah, dude.
kind of where I'm
So
at.
let's take it back to I remember you were saying that it was hard for you to get a band together. So when did you actually get a lineup of dudes that you would jam with?
Well, yeah, so I wrote the first Ontogeny album. Me and my brother used to play guitar together, and that became Ontogeny, I guess, me and him just playing. And then my brother quit, and it was just me. So I wrote all these songs. I wrote Pillars of Perversion basically when I was like 14 years old with a drum machine. And I
Still have my physical copy, dude.
I couldn't
Mint
find
condition.
anyone. I couldn't find anyone to play it. So that's when I joined Anomalous, basically. That's when I met Max, and he said, play bass. So I did. And I started playing bass with Max and Tim in Anomalous before they released Cognitive Dissonance. And that was a great experience because they were just, both of them, they were so tight together on guitar. Tim at that time was playing guitar, and Tim wrote a lot of that stuff too with Max on the first album. And they were so solid together. So I was like, this is the band I need to be in to get on my shit playing with other people, because I was not there. And I started doing it, and it was great. And Soul Asunder used to rehearse with Anomalous in that same studio, and they lost their bass player. So they said, hey, do you want to fill in on bass? So I started playing bass with them. And that's where we got to play with you guys, like Carnivorous. It's funny, the podcast too, every time you couldn't remember a local band, that was us, just so you know.
I know you messaged me after like the second time I did it. You're like, dude, it was fucking us. I'm like, fuck, dude, sorry.
So like the Origin show at
The Aptos Club.
yeah. Right? So King played our drummer's kit from Soulside, the little white kit. That was actually Keith's kit that he played. So Soul Asunder played that show. Soul Asunder played a lot of shows, and that's
You played
where
some
I got,
pound shows too, right?
yeah, we opened for Dark Tranquility. The Pound. There's the drinking game, by the way. Every time the Pound's mentioned, you can take a shot.
Oh yeah.
But really, the Pound for San Francisco and the scene, it just, everyone came to San Francisco for it. But it was great, and I think for a lot of reasons it was great. One was tours weren't overbooked at the time, so a band would play with like 2 other bands, and then they'd allow an opener to play. So that means your bill is 4 bands, which was always perfect, and they always allowed a local opener, which was fucking awesome when you're a local opener, because you could open for your hero. Some people got to open for Meshuggah. Some people got to open for Opeth, you know, at the Pound, and the Pound did that. But now like shows get booked with 7 bands. So a local opener just becomes exhausting, you know, for a lot of those sets. So I feel like the scene was different in general. Touring was different for a lot of people, but the Pound was just a place where you didn't know everyone's name there, but you'd see him there all the time.
Yeah.
So you'd start nodding after a while. You'd be like, oh yeah, there's oh, I know you. I know that shirt. There's the Vile shirt guy. You know that
Yeah.
guy's always there. You know,
It's like, oh, there's the NASA guy. Remember
yeah,
the Bob or whatever?
dude,
Yeah.
Metal Bob, bro.
Metal
How
Bob.
has
Yeah,
he
yeah.
not been mentioned?
Shout
So,
out Metal Bob, dude.
so Metal
Oh, yeah.
Bob is amazing because he goes to every local show.
Every show.
We've played in Petaluma, and he's been there at like Solace Thunder shows on top, like small underground shows. Word on the street is he's actually been seen at 2 shows that were at the same time.
The legend.
It's like
Oh,
the movie
man.
The Prestige, if you ever
He
seen it.
sends his doppelgangers out when there's yeah.
Oh, the Twin
Awesome.
Peaks references, the doppelgangers. Who's the evil Metal Bob? But
I
yeah,
wouldn't be surprised if he like went
doppelgangers.
to one show and just like saw the opener and just went to another show. You know, it seems like something he would do. He's at every single show I went to in the Bay, like every single show.
every single one. And yeah, the Pound was just, it was the place to see every band. Like I said, I got to see Meshuggah there at the Pound, and you know, a venue with 200 people in it, or it should be 200 people, but they put 300 people in it to see Meshuggah. That
Yep.
place was on fucking fire, you know, when
Yeah.
they started playing some stuff, and seeing just Cannibal Corpse there too. I hurt my sternum to that shit because it was so overpacked, and I guess that's why I got shut down. But great bands. I saw every band I wanted to see at the Pound, basically, you know.
Yeah, dude.
Is a place to be, and it's gone, and nothing replaced it, you know.
No, it's I mean, there's a plant nursery replaced it, but
I mean, venue wise.
Yeah.
And now
You know-
Slim's is gone too.
I
So-
know.
Yeah.
So
It's
metal
like what's
and
the Metro is pretty much it now. The Metro and then DNA Lounge maybe. I
Didn't
They
they
say they
Yeah,
were
I
gonna
gotta
call the
give-
Slims YOLO now or some shit.
Oh yeah, that's
YOLO,
right.
dude.
Yeah.
I got to give a
No
shout
live
out to
music.
DNA Lounge too, though. DNA Lounge is another place that allows openers locally to play. And
Yeah.
again, like my band Ontogeny, we aren't signed or anything, right? So getting local shows for us is kind of what we do, right? We play out when we can, for sure. We've gone on, you know, tours. We'd love to go on more too, but basically for that, playing those shows in San Francisco, that's it. You can open for a band, or you can play, you know, a bar that has an R&B band play after you, and it doesn't work out, which I've done before. You know, we've played a show where a band that was covering Aretha Franklin opened for us, and I was just like this is not going to make people want to see our set. As soon as we start playing, they're going to leave, and they did. They certainly did.
Well, now they do the pay to play thing is more common, right? You got to buy a bunch of tickets and then you got to sell them to make a profit. You can either make a profit or just sell them for cheaper and you know, come out even, so you can, you know, at least show your worth to the venue. Now it used to just be, oh yeah, you can open, like just come play. Now it's like, here's tickets you have to buy in advance and then you
Yep.
have to sell these, you know.
Yeah. It's
So-
just, it's so hard to be, it's just so hard to be in music and have it be profitable and be a thing. And that's why it's good to kind of think of it just like, this is something I do. I make music and I love it, and that's what it's about. So
yeah.
if you like playing shows, you can find shows, you can get shows. They may not be sold out fucking shows, but you can play in front of people if you want. So you got to find what you like. And for me, what I've always liked is making albums, playing with my friends, meeting other musicians, picking their brain, talking about music. Music for me is very much just it's so much an enjoying thing in life that I love to be part of with other people too. So making albums and writing music, writing music to me was more important than shredding, playing guitar. I always practiced writing songs. I still don't consider myself a great lead guitar player at all. I think I'm a horrible lead guitar player. I think I'm a fairly good rhythm guitar player, but I like writing songs, so I practice that. I practice songwriting, and you know, if you don't like my songs, I don't care. It is what it is. I write them because I like doing it and it's fun, you know.
It kind of goes back to the what I was talking about previously, which is, I mean, so for how I look at you as like an amazing lead player and a fucking ridiculous fucking, you know, phenom rhythm player. Because I remember I still have that memory of going into your room years ago, and you're like, "Hey Joel, I got this new song I'm working on. It's this instrumental song," and you just put on a drum machine and played this fucking like fucking opus, amazing. I was sitting there with my jaw open. And I was like, stoned, but I was sitting there going like, what the fuck? This is insane, dude. Like, I didn't know you were this good. And then you hand me the guitar. You're like, "Hey, why don't you jam?" I'm like, fuck no, I'm not jamming after that. Like, you can fuck yourself. like I was serious. I remember the whole thing unfolding, and like I was like, oh Jesus, Nate's fucking no, you're insane, man. And that's because you think you probably could be better, and that's why you keep progressing. Is how I look at it.
I mean, it to me, it's not even about being better. It's just keep having fun. You're gonna get older. You're gonna fucking die one day. That's the reality of the situation. So find what you enjoy and keep doing it. So I make it. I'm gonna keep making it. I enjoy practicing. Practice for me isn't like I gotta practice guitar today. This is bullshit. It's always been like I have inspiration to practice. I love this. Finding the inspiration sometimes is the hard part. Even loving music when you're tired as shit from work. And that's where that's where you really find the people who are passionate about this, especially metal music too. Metal is just, it's a music that if you play it, how hard it is. That there's so much that goes into writing it. But outside, if you don't understand metal, it's literally like, that's the stupidest shit I've ever heard. So it's one of those genres that's not fully respected, but it's entirely musical, and it's extremely hard for people, and it can be whatever you want it to be too. So
Definitely
there's that aspect of it. And like, yeah, this is cool as shit, by the way, too. Again, I'm gonna say it again. I remember watching fucking Casey Howard videos when he first played Decrepit Birth on MySpace, and they busted that one out, and I was like, God damn, that's some kick that guy's got. Back then, like 250 kick was like, oh shit, he can do it, bro.
Oh yeah.
I love finally being able to see it in person too. It was just like, fuck, dude, this is fucking Decrepit Birth for real right now.
I mean, shit, going to Bloodletting, seeing Odious, seeing Decrepit, seeing Vile, seeing Deeds of Flesh after that was the shit. Seeing
that was a fun
that
tour.
lineup was amazing. Seeing Jacoby get hit in the face.
Oh yeah,
I remember the exact thing that happened from an audience perspective, because that lady kept on going on stage and windmilling endlessly with them. It just over and over again. So Jacoby just pushed her off, and that dude just clocked him. And it's funny because that's another show that Solo Sunder opened for, by the way, was Broadway Studios in San Francisco. Severed Savior and Deeds of Flesh.
That's the one I brought up.
Yeah, that's the one Casey brought up, and Soul Sunder opened that show too. Yeah. So
nice.
Back awesome. Then it was like Soul Sunder is a very melodic band too. So it was a cool show for us because I love Deeds, but a lot of the tech fans back then didn't really like the melodic stuff. So we were kind of
You guys played that California Metal Fest too, right? You guys opened that up over in Anaheim, right?
Yeah, we opened up the main stage in that one. And,
and like Exodus, and that was awesome, man. That was one of the better gigs. Kerry King was backstage just like hanging out. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, it was like, there
was like different tiers of how good your band was there, and we weren't in the good tier of it. Like you guys were probably in the like take care of these guys section. We were in the hurry the fuck up out of this nice venue section. So like I remember keeping on telling the sound guy, like, can you turn me up? I can't hear me at all. And there was no sound guy. And that was like the biggest
talking to no one.
Again, it's like this is the biggest venue ever, and we still can't get a hold of the sound guy.
Crazy. I was at that show. That's rad. I didn't really know Soul Asunder back then, though. You guys were a little too cutty for a 17-year-old who went there to see, Decrepit Birth and all that. So, but I picked up on the Soul Asunder thing, and I remember checking you guys out. But I don't know much, dude. Can you like tell someone like who's not familiar, like what's the story of that band, and were you playing bass the whole time, or did you switch over to guitar?
So Soul Asunder was Chaz and Brian. Chaz was the guy who showed me the polyrhythms, right? He played in a band with my brother too. So this is like a long line of people I've known since I was 4, and we all grew up in metal together. So we're all discovering metal together, and they were in that band when I didn't have a band. So seeing them play shows was always like, fuck, these guys are fucking badass. And they released an album called Under the Name Minion that I listened to, and it was so inspiring. It was still now to me, I listen to it because the harmonies are so cool. It was different than the melodic metal I was hearing because it was very X-Toll like and Opeth chords. And I guess to me that's very specific because there's melodic metal that's like In Flames melodic metal, and then there's X-Toll Opeth dark melodic metal to me.
Mm-hmm.
And they were touching on that dark stuff, but they were mixing Meshuggah a lot, and it was touching the rhythmic stuff in me and the melody. And so I joined bass as soon as I could because I loved the music so much. And then I got a chance to play guitar because the other guitar player had a kid, and they said, "Hey, just can you play guitar? I'm already in the band. I already know the songs." So I got to play guitar, and I wrote the album Mechanized with them. It was kind of all of us collaboratively. So I wrote a few songs on that album, Mechanized with them, playing guitar and playing bass. And at the same time, I was in Anomalous and Ontogeny. So it was Soul Center, Anomalous, Ontogeny. Those were my three bands at the same time that I was working on, because it was like three different genres of metal that I could play. And really, because I love metal so much, I love so many different types. Anomalous will never be that type of melodic band. Ontogeny is closer to it, but Soul Center was a different thing than each project. So
Mm-hmm.
And you guys had a music video. Were you in that music video? Because that's my main memory of Soul Asunder, is like watching the video that you guys
yeah,
had.
yeah. I'm in one of them. I think. I think they made one without me and one with me.
For which
I'm in the
song?
video Demodulated. That's the video I'm in.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, Nico DeLuna. He shoots a lot of videos around California bands. I think he shot Brain Drills. He shot a lot of playthrough videos. He shot it. But yeah, he's great. And so that was Soul Center. Soul Center joining that band was huge because they that was one of my favorite albums growing up, was hearing that. So joining a band that was one of my favorites was so cool. And joining Anomalous to play with one of my favorite guitar players, Max, was like, I felt like a little kid in both bands. So I wanted to be really good and keep up with these musicians. Keeping up with Max was just like, this is so fucking hard. This guy is goddamn good, man. And
Yeah, I remember hearing that EP for the first time, and my fucking head was spinning.
I remember just
yeah,
seeing his playthrough videos. I'd just be like, what the fuck is this guy? He was like one of the like original kind of like jaw-dropping playthrough videos I used to see. Even it might have even been before YouTube, but it was like literally at the beginning of YouTube or something like that. And just watching those on, I remember I think he was playing like a Les Paul or something.
yeah,
And yeah, and he was just shredding a Les Paul. Like I was like, what the like it didn't make sense in my it's like a dissonance singing like a classic rock guitar just getting shredded to pieces like that.
The thing about Max that I can say about him, which is so inspiring to me, is that he has the best ear of anyone I've ever heard. He can come into any situation, listen to it, and solo over it. So I anytime I have him over, because he's kind of like elusive when you can get him over. It's like, shit, Max is here. Give him a guitar, and hopefully you have something that he can record on. Which is why Ontogeny has so many guest solos from Max, because I love, like I said, playing with my friends. And Max is just one of those people that's so inspiring for me. So when Max would be like, hey, dude, I'm in the neighborhood, I'd be like, you're recording a solo right now. You don't know it yet, but you're about to.
Damn.
So like the solos he's done for me, I would say every single one of them was the first take. Every single solo he ever did
Wow.
would be him listening to a song and saying, yeah, let me feel it out. Boom. And then played just the thing. I was like, I can't play that. And it was a improv solo. So his improv skills were just, I still can't do that. He has the best ear, and his ability to hear other musicians. It came from jazz. Like his dad was a saxophone player and that. So keeping up with him and that ear and even Chaz can play piano like so well, and play guitar and play drums really well. So all these great musicians were keeping me like practicing and inspired. And that's what music to me is about, and why I've always had the guests on my albums. Every album I've had, I try to have friends that I can play with, because I like having people here to watch them play and say that was sick. Scott Carstairs, another band you can hopefully have on one day, Fallujah.
Yep.
Cali Death, he was on my last album. And again, he comes over and we plays guitar sometimes. That's just what I like doing, playing guitar with people, talking shit about music.
Yeah.
It's fucking
yeah.
awesome, dude. So from Pillars to Discord, there's a obvious change in songwriting. So and Anomalous was after Pillars, right? You already did Pillars before you joined Anomalous.
So like the technical release of Pillars, I think, is after Anomalous, but Pillars was written when I was like 14 and 15 with my brother. So it's super young material. It's very Cannibal Corpse. It sounds like Cannibal Corpse, but it sounds like a guy who heard Cannibal Corpse and then heard Origin do something for the first time. So it's like, oh shit, I'm gonna do Cannibal Corpse Origin now and mix Meshuggah with it. I feel like everyone's first album is kind of that. It's kind of what you listen to a lot of. And that's why Discord for me is kind of what I think of. We don't really play anything off Pillars. We start with Discord because that's when I decided to play with other drummers. I remember taking a shit, sitting in sitting in a bathroom stall and thinking like, I can't find a drummer who can play that death metal stuff. And I tried people out that would play blasting 250, but then you'd throw Meshuggah polyrhythms at them, and they couldn't do it, and it would suck. And I started seeing like, what do I find cooler about music, and what do I like about music, and what is it? And I said, to me, rhythm is huge, and that's where Keith came in. Keith was the drummer for Soul Sunder, and another huge inspiration for me musically, because Keith is another person like Max, where he can listen to something and just play it. So he can listen to Meshuggah and play it.
He's a very unique player too. He's got a unique style.
He's like a gospel chops player. So I started thinking of like, hey, gospel chops is I watch those videos so much. That's my favorite style of drumming. I watched Tony Royster videos. I watched Thomas Pridgen videos. I watched Eric Coleman videos. Just all these drummers were inspiring me to play these riffs that wrote Discord. And I remember saying, well, that fusion drumming is inspiring these riffs. What if instead of for kick, I put 16th notes as fusion stuff, which is what made Discord. So every time I'd write something that I'd originally write as blasting kick, Keith is doing a weird gospel chop fusion thing on the snare and the toms and moving it around. So he's playing 16th notes, but he's playing it all around the kick. And part of Keith that I loved is he's such a natural player. So I didn't want to have super fat production for it. I know it sounds stupid, and it sounds like it's not like Burzum in that way, and I'll explain it a little later, but I wanted to hear his toms and his snare like I'm sitting there with Keith listening to him play drums. I didn't want it to sound like he's in an amphitheater. I wanted it to sound like I'm next to Keith and I'm feeling this band in a room playing. So we did live takes. There's no editing on the drums, and we did live takes for drums or guitar. And we played every part without cropping anything. And I wanted to do that at the time because it's just something I felt in the music. I was listening to Mars Volta. They kind of blew my mind. And Thomas Pridgen came from that. And I remember Joel mentioned them earlier. I never got into it either. I couldn't stand the singer when I first heard it. And then I feel like when I got more mature in music, I started hearing his ideas a lot and saying, wow, his ideas are unfucking believable. His harmonies are crazy. Those drums are crazy. I can listen to Deloused and the Comatorium 1,000 times and still hear new stuff that I'd never heard before. And that's why Deloused and the Comatorium is in my top 5 favorite albums. And it really inspired me to write Discord a lot. So fusion drumming and those videos inspired Discord a lot and created this new sound with Keith. So now I write with Keith in mind, and I think of fusion drumming playing with this. It's still metal, but it's like it's Keith. I write with Keith, and it's because I want to play with people and pick their brain. Keith's an amazing guitar player. He has a fantastic project called Dead Stars Fell.
I just recently, I started following them because I went digging on your guys' page for a little bit, and I saw they put a link to that stuff too.
And that's amazing prog rock, like acoustic guitars, and he plays drums and guitars and wrote all the songs. And my Chaz, the guitar player from Soul Center's in it. All of our bands are just molesting each other musically. We're all in the same bands. Yep. Max solos on albums for every band. He solo, so and that's what I love. That's to me is music. It's a language with people that everyone can speak once you do it. Somebody I watched a great documentary that was Fela Kuti, and he was playing with these African drummers basically, and he said you couldn't talk to him, but as soon as you started playing drums with them, everyone knew what was up, and they started interacting with each other, and it was like they were on the
Communicating, yeah.
same thing. And that's what it is, you know. It's that, and you can still have that in death metal too, you know. I feel like
Yeah. Definitely.
I,
That's kind of like one of the precipices of Cali death metal is fucking band. You know, even with our
incestuous.
bands, incestuous. I mean, you know, you got people in Vile and Severed, and you know, like Deeds, blah blah, just all in each other's bands. And then
I mean, it was like that in the Florida scene too.
That's true.
And you think about it, it's probably like that in New York too. If you dig around, you're gonna realize that.
Yeah.
I mean,
People
Pyrexia
leave.
and Cepho,
Yeah.
like all of them, they were mixing each other up in the beginning and stuff, you know. So it's just like it's a niche genre of underground, you know, enthusiasts in extreme music who love to play and listen to it. But you get to a point where you only get to a point where you're like, okay, how am I going to actually make this work? You got the passion and the drive to get a band together, but you don't have enough musicians. Well, I know that these guys are already doing something. We're friends. Let's see if one of those guys will do it. Hey, Troy Fullerton, you want to be in our band called Carnivorous? Yeah, dude, let's do it. You know, and you end up being you end up getting another project out of it.
Then a guitar player leaves, and then like it's like, oh well, we know this guy from this band, and then you join, and they join, and then like it's this big circle of life with the niche
but I
music.
like there's two different ways of doing that though. There's joining the band and just following suit and doing it the way the band's always been doing it, or you come into the project and you actually inject yourself into it and actually change the project to actually be you're part of it as well. Like you're really in it. You're not just playing somebody else's music. And that's what I love about what we're talking about right now, how you like to play off of other people. And Keith's a really like I said, unique's a really good word for that dude. Cause I got to see him play live when you guys were opening up for us. And he always stood out to me as somebody that I never really saw play like him, you know? And I love that you're open to that. And that's what makes a project like Ontogeny. That's why I've loved it so much and how it's been standout for me personally throughout the years, is because it is its own thing. Like I don't hear, I mean, I may hear elements of other bands and your influences in there. Like today I was just going through it again. I can hear some Canvas Solaris in there. I hear Ion Dissonance in there at times, but it's like still like you know how to warp it and twist it and make it like your own thing, you know?
Right
And there's stuff in there that I'm like, oh yeah, this is totally just Nate's brain right here. Like I can't link this to anybody, you know.
That's a compliment. I like that. That to me is huge when you can hear people's personality in music. Like Chuck Schuldiner soloing, you could hear Chuck Schuldiner when he solos. You hear that it's Chuck Schuldiner. I don't know. You can hear Alan Holdsworth when he plays. You go, oh, that's Alan Holdsworth. You can hear Frederick Thorndahl. So personality in music is huge, and Keith, like you said to me, he's always had that, and it's always been fun. Every set is different. I told Keith every show, just dude, because he can improvise too, just improvise, gospel chop it, just as long as I'm playing in time, shred it up, dude. And that's what we do every time, and it makes every set very fun. And I do improv solos too, so I try to keep the improv feel and live feel of it, because sometimes you fuck up, you know, that's improv, you know, but you play it off. How did you pull it off? Did you fuck up and then fall apart, or did you fuck up and then pull yourself together and now it's a tight new thing that you're working on? So I try to do that, and Keith's always been fun to do that with, because he understands things so well drum wise that he can tell you're playing your own riffs wrong. You know, you can be playing a riff and he's like, you're dragging, dude, you're dragging. And I'll be like, I don't think I'm fucking dragging, I wrote the riff. And you're like, then you start playing it to a metronome, you're like, god damn, I'm dragging, he's right. So he's another person. He just keeps you on your shit because he's so fun to play with and knows his shit so well. So that was huge playing with Keith too. And Ontogeny's working at the same time. I started writing. The first time I got to really write with Anomalous was the second album, which I don't know if you have a topic to go into, but like
I would love to hear as much as you can say about Omnivolent, because that's my favorite. Like, I don't know how to, it goes beyond, like, it's in a whole other world. Like no other bands have even like tread that far yet. It's like no one's caught up with that, dude. Like that's the shit, dude. I love that album.
Fuck
So
yeah.
I just want to hear everything you can say about it. And
It's in my truck right now.
yeah.
That album took a lot out of all of us, I think, is what that album was. That it took 5 years to make that album, and I really saw how Max and Tim craft songs because I got to write with them, and we all wrote that album together. We wrote chunks of it, and it was kind of an album where we all decided to like, hey, do we want to play live? Because the first album we were going to play live. We started, that's what made me go to guitar. Was Tim said I can't sing and play at the same time, and I said, well, sing and I'll play guitar. And Marco was playing drums with us. We were rehearsing. We just didn't have a bass player, and we were starting to try some people out, and we were like, we're going to play live. And then Marco joined a bunch of bands and started touring. So we said, well, this finding a drummer thing isn't working out really too well, so we should just be a studio band. And that's what we did. So we kind of just made a studio album, and it was never made to play live, I guess. It was very much like, here's the guitar, you write your section, let's play it, I'll put a thing over it, and it was passing the guitar around, writing a song with each other, and like, oh, that's a sick riff, check this riff out, and I'll put this over it. And I'm sure Marco lost his mind because we rewrite songs 1,000 times. Like, we'd be like, Marco, this song's done. We'd send it to him, go to rehearse it with him, and he'd be like, I learned it. And be like, no, you didn't, because we deleted like this section, we moved it around here. And yeah, so that's what that album was listening to things and really overthinking it in a matter of speaking, like really getting into the weeds of seconds of a riff. Like, dude, we wrote 15 seconds today. Fuck yeah, we did it. Because sometimes we delete a minute because we'd say we don't like that. And it was a building block of albums. Some ideas, we always try to write thematically, Anomalous and all my bands really, but we write thematically. So we'd write the theme of a song and we kind of build around that theme. We take that theme, we deconstruct it, we put snippets of it in other things, so riffs. So like that whole album, what may seem like, oh, that's just a different riff, to me it's like that's a section of that riff that became this. It alludes to this theme, which is a part of this bigger theme, which is part of this. And the theme of the album is a cycle in itself because it starts. So we think of it like a movie. That album to me is very much, we really got into thinking a lot about how we're going to write these songs, how they're going to be made, how they're going to be played too. Like, we were super hard on each other for playing. Like, Max would play some of the sickest solos I'd ever hear, and I'd hear Tim say, that was garbage, dude. I'd be like, oh, are you tripping? That was the sickest thing ever. We'd start arguing, like there was lots of arguing because like, no, that shit's sick, no it's not. So in some ways it was an example of too many cooks, but it wasn't, because that's, to me, Anomalous. It's that album was bringing chaos together and somehow making sense of it all, and doing that. So it took a lot. It was 5 years and of writing and recording and rewriting and recording and doing all that. So that's Omnivalent to me, is a lot of work. That's what I remember.
That's crazy. Yeah, it's really cool to hear. I've like really been interested in what the hell went into that. Yeah, can you fuck man, I don't, someone else can go. I'll think of what else to say about it. But
we could just go on to the next album, dude. Hymns.
Well, so Anomalous doesn't have anything, but for Hymns,
for Ontogeny, excuse me.
Yeah. So Ontogeny, so Hymns. So with Discord, we did our fusion live feel where I was like, I want all acoustic drums. I want to hear that. The next album that I still wanted that, but it wasn't possible to do with Keith's schedule, my schedule. And that kind of leads me to, I kind of don't want to go to a nice studio, as stupid as that sounds. I don't want to go to a studio, because part of what I enjoy about music is actually recording it and making it, whether you like the way the album's recorded or not. It's what I enjoy about it. So I'm going to kind of keep doing it. So I worked with Keith's schedule enough to where he was like, well, we can only play till 8 in my neighborhood, and I didn't want to rent a studio. So we were like, hey, so we have a V drum kit. Will you play a V drum? So we played V drums. We still didn't quantize or anything, but we did, him playing a V drum kit, which is cool. But it didn't feel the same to me. Discord's songs, I feel, are a lot, or hymn songs to me are a lot better than Discord's songs. But I feel like the drums could be a more realistic. But song wise, I feel like that's some of the best stuff I wrote for that band. But I wanted to get the drums back to where I felt they should be for this band, which is hearing Keith playing in a room again. Hearing, because Keith, when he recorded Discord, he was learning the songs as he recorded them. So I'd say, hey Keith, let's experiment. I'm gonna see if you could be the drummer for my band. And he went, all right. And he sat in the studio and he recorded 5 songs in one day. And I was like, yeah, I think you passed it, dude. And those are the tracks that became the album. Was Keith's audition is actually Discord and Disillusion. So
Wow.
losing that Keith feel, because Hymns was recorded the same way. Basically, Keith was just like, okay, let me hear it. Fuck yeah, I can play it, and we'd play it. And I wanted to hear him playing that acoustic kit again, and being in that room and figuring it out, because it's part of a moment for me, and that's why I like the recording process myself. It's all part of moments of captured. It's like a time lapse of my life, right?
Yeah.
I remember where I was when I recorded every album, and I was involved in the experience of everything. And that's kind of what made the next album for Ontogeny, which is Anti-Social Media, was figuring out, like, death metal is very underground, so it's cool to keep it all inclusive in this house. And we direct our own videos. We made the artwork for the album. The artwork is very childish, and that was intentional. It was exactly what I pictured in my head. I saw an episode of The Simpsons, and I was looking at that picture of the sailboat and the couch and all the colors in The Simpsons, and I was miserable about work and feeling just down. And I just had this image in my head of it, and it kind of popped in my head. And there's so many moments that inspired lyrically that album. And that, so Anti-Social Media to me is what it's evolved to being. Right, it's back to Keith being in the room playing the drums. I could hear Keith playing the drums again, and it's artwork done by us, it's videos done by us, everything is now done by us, which really made it fun in our own band again.
So all the lyrics on that album are you, right?
Yeah.
And all the vocals are you as well.
Yeah. On Anti-Social
So I wanted to go a little bit deeper into some of the song themes on that album, because I remember what is it? What Can I Say? Is that a song about not having anything to write about?
Well, yeah, it's like I was saying earlier, a lot of metal is that visceral anger for some people. It is that chaos fear. I fucking am pissed off. For some people it is. And at the time when I needed to write the album, I was like, I'm not really pissed off. So what am I gonna? I'm a adult man. I'm fucking screaming over here. What am I gonna be screaming about? So really, what I was screaming about was the fact that I have to feel miserable to try to write lyrics for this metal song. So it was like, so in order to write I have to fucking get depressed writing this song, and that's what you fucking want. And that's kind of where it was. It was that.
I fucking love it, dude.
That's so rad.
Yeah, so it was I forget.
Yeah, and then there's some other really fucking anti-work fucking there's a lot of hate and work in some of that shit.
See, it's not hating work as much as it's kind of like that's life, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're in an environment where you got to work, you got to do this shit. And I just launched that pen into a Kiesel guitar. But yeah, you got to work to live. So that's just what it is. So if I'm gonna be that adult man screaming, I might as well be an adult man screaming about the shit that I'm fucking pissed about. And it comes full circle too, because I realized that what a privileged thing to be fucking screaming about. I'm screaming about fucking work. Some people don't even have that. So at the end, so there's parts in the album where I'm screaming at that, like, oh yeah, I'm a fucking privileged piece of shit right now. That's what I am. I'm screaming about something I shouldn't be. I should be happy I got a job. I got all this. So the first song to me on that, which is what our video was for, which is why we made the video for it, that's the theme of the album. It kind of sets up the monotony of just normal shit. That is just I I I wanted it to be normal shit. I consider myself to be a normal guy. I'm not sacrificing goats. I remember seeing, Glenn Benton with the cross on his head. That's definitely not me. But
Nope.
I feel like if even in the normal minutia of life, there's definite things that if you want to be angry about, you can. But it's like, why do you have to be for metal? So that album is
Yeah.
searching that and exploring that idea. Like, because I love this music. Am I pissed? I'm screaming.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
hilarious.
it is a weird thing. You're like, that's really the only way. Well, no, not the only way. Obviously, there's clean vocals in metal too, but like death metal, it's really hard to not growl to it. So if you're gonna growl and say something positive, it is kind of strange feeling.
Well, also too, there's a lot of like death metal will bring a smile to my face sometimes. Like it's not, it's like whether it's like what Nate's saying. There's a guy like farting or screaming into a mic. It's like I'm just sitting there with a smile. It's not like it's got like he's pissed, he's super angry or something like that. But I'm like sitting there smiling, like this makes me feel awesome. Like I'm having a good time. This is like fun. This is good. This is like not. I'm not like sitting there like not frowning or anything. Like I'm having a good time. So that's super funny how you would find kind of take that how you love the music, but you're like, still, I need to scream though. I mean, like, I need to still find
Yeah.
this purpose to scream.
but
That's
but
fun.
it is saying that it's not taking away from anyone who feels that music is that, though, to me too,
No,
because
totally, totally.
to me, it's all music is honesty. It should be anyway. You should write what's honest to you. And if you're writing something, you're saying, I want people to feel my fucking anger right now, then that's what they should feel. And to me, there's points on the album where I am doing that. I use humor a lot because I consider I love dark humor. I love, I loved Louis C.K. before he pulled his dick out. But like the dark humor, Mr. Show, that stuff's
Oh,
super
dude.
inspiring to me. Just uh you could have something that like our video, there's imagery of somebody killing himself over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. It even says kill yourself. People will like it. But yet there's funny moments, so it's like, oh, I just forgot that I saw somebody shoot themselves in the fucking head, and
Like in real quick on Royal Tenenbaums, I just recently watched it again. The part where Luke, well, I forget his character's name. He's in the bathroom and he goes, "I'm gonna kill myself tomorrow," and then he just kills himself right after he says that, and I kind of
Yeah.
giggle because he says, "I'm gonna kill myself tomorrow," but then he just does it right after.
Yeah,
Just
that's
fails at that.
a great one too. I love that.
or no, I don't. Never mind. I don't want to keep
But
going
like,
on, Wes Anderson.
but playing with humor, that's a lot of that album. So David Lynch does it really well, where he's extremely dark in his movies, but he'll have something that's super funny.
Mhm.
There's moments where you're like, this is so awkward, it's hilarious. And I loved that. I love playing
Exactly.
with hilarity, playing with darkness, playing with all this stuff, being looking inward, but at the same time realizing that I'm an old man playing music in my basement right now, and I enjoy this shit, and this is fun for me. So it's a lot of that. It's exploring that, and exploring how it relates to social media, which is why it's called anti-social media, because in a lot of ways social media to me it is the greatest thing ever. I mean, we're doing this technically through social media or internet platforms, but I feel like for a lot of people, what it leads to is just feeling like you always have to be something you're not, or always having to show your best person. So you can't show people what you're feeling. You could be feeling this emptiness, this pain inside, but you have to show people how happy you are. And it's all based on the interaction you get from that device rather than your life that you're actually experiencing at that point. So it's exploring that idea and exploring like, yeah, but at the same time I'm critiquing it, I'm also implicit in it, I'm on fucking Facebook. So it's a whole cycle of like, I'm in no ability, I have no ability to preach anything to anybody. That's what it is. This is all just, that's what it is. I'm
Although
not
you're within it, you're still just noticing what's happening around you. And you're just like, you're part of the herd, not like you're complying, but it's just, yeah, you are in a way. It's like I like to keep in touch with my family, and a lot of my family outside of my immediate family are on there. So it keeps me tethered. And then these like projects and music and stuff, it ends up keeping me tethered on there. But I rarely go on for like more than a couple minutes a day, really, you
I
know.
mean,
But
I
some
don't
people
care.
are on there for a long fucking time, dude.
I mean, I feel like if you're on there for a long time, that's fine. It's all what you do with it. I use it like I've met musicians from around the nation that I've collaborated with. Mark Hawkins collaborated on Hymns of Ahriman. He's from Florida. I've made an
Yeah.
album with him before. We've done Devolved stuff, Soul Cycle.
I've got an unreleased project with him on guitar
He's
called
fucking
Seven
badass,
League.
dude. He's a great guitar player. But yeah, and that stuff wouldn't be possible. So it's what you make of it. It's all your interaction with it and how you see it. And that's what I mean. Like if you view yourself as like that celebrity, like I can only show this, I have to show my experiences to other people but not actually experience them. If that's bringing you absolute joy, then fine, but that's not for me. That's all it is, really. It's very much just do what makes you happy, right? But this is what I'm noticing about for me. It doesn't make me happy. It would make me more miserable to do that.
I think that's why I pretty much use social media for like comedy. It's just like I just laugh. Like there's so many funny things and so much humor to be found on there. And like as far as like how insane memes are getting and just like how like technical memes are getting, like with so many like references that you're like holy shit. Like, and to me I just go on there just to like try to make it more of a positive funny thing, or just make fun of myself on there, or just laugh. It's kind of like I'm just like closet wannabe shitty stand-up comedian, and I want to laugh at things and post things that are funny and thoughts that I have that make me laugh when I'm driving, or just stuff like that. That's kind of how I use it. But yeah, there's people that like what you're saying. And sometimes like, and I've noticed in like the darker situations, and sometimes where my parents are in another state and I have to work. I can't do the family things during the family times, and I'm seeing everyone holding hands, and I'm like single, and like they're all like making out with their girlfriends, and like they're doing all their stuff, and like everyone's all smiling and happy. I'm like, I don't really believe you. Like I'm looking at that, but you kind of like that's the bar that gets set to a lot of people, where they see people succeeding online, or living their best life, or whatever, your little joke, fucking hashtag blessed. And they're just it's just all the fakest shit. It's like they're really there's underlying things in their lives that they're totally hiding from, and they're kind of using that platform as like, this is what how great my life is, what about your life? It's kind of like I do see that a lot, like kind of what you're getting at.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, if it makes them happy, that's cool. It's all my interaction with it. And yeah, just it was very much tied to, I think, the idea of like our band was discussing promoting, and like, you got to make guitar videos, you got to do this, you got to do this. And I was just like, I don't, though. I really don't. I don't need to do any of that.
Yeah.
And because to me, I never wanted to hear an album until it was out as a little kid, and the album to me is a very sacred thing, and I don't want to just like, here's a single. I don't want to do that, and I think it's fine if your band does that. It's just, for me, the album was such a fucking special thing. It's a
That's
movie.
how Trevor is. You and Trevor would get along great. He's all David Lynch and everything. But yeah, if a new single comes out, he's like, nope, la 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 la, until the album
Yeah.
comes out. And he waits till the album comes out, and then he gets it in his hands, or it comes out on whatever, and he listens to it all the way through that day. That's like, he wants the full experience and the journey of the album. He doesn't want the single. You know what I mean?
Yeah. To me, it's what the band wants to do. So if a band wants you to hear that single, that's cool. To
Yeah,
me,
yeah.
if for me, it's all about the album. So I'll release a single before, I guess, the album, but it's not like, hey, release a single and the album's gonna come out in 10 years. I'd rather just wait 10 years till you hear my album, even if it's outdated or whatever. It's what I make and what I wanted to make.
Well,
So that's,
I think a lot of bands don't want to release that single too, that are trying to tell that story. It's their label pushing them like, hey, we gotta
yeah,
need to promote. Like, I'm sure Tool didn't want to release their, they want their full album to come out at once, because that's that kind of band they are. But
yeah,
but they have to release, they gotta sell, so they gotta like create hype, and they gotta,
yeah,
it's like through the label pushing them to do it. So that's kind of how where his school of thought is. It's just like, I'm just gonna wait, no matter what.
yeah,
And it's already out, and like I'm sitting there listening, I'm like, oh my god, it's so good, it's so good. And he's like, I'm not gonna listen to it. Like, just
yeah.
fucking cover my ears.
I mean,
And I have respect for that. But for me, because I'm so ADD, and I want I want my thing, my dopamine now. I want like the fucking, I want to hear what it's going to sound like. I want to hear all that stuff, and not take it in context. And I'll blow that song out. And then by the time the album comes out, I'm like, skip the single, like all the singles. I just skip like all of them. You know, like, I've already listened to them way too
Real
much.
quick, not once did we mention where could we get some Ontogeny merch or anything like that.
Dude, apparently our link is down. See, this is what I mean. I'm the worst social media guy for like our band's. I think the link's on our Facebook, but I don't even know if it works. But we have a big cartel page, and you know I should get it fixing. If Kenji, our bass player, is watching, he's gonna just be shaking his head like, dude, I told you that so long ago. Fixed that so long ago. But yeah, I work so much, man, and that's what it is. And like I said, that's what inspired me to make that video, and the whole album was being pushed to make guitar videos and do all this. And I said, well, if I want to make a video, I want to make a video that's relating to the thing that I'm doing, and it's not me playing guitar in my room. It really isn't. That's not Ontogeny to me. It's a theme of an album. So I wanted to release that, which was the video for now I can't remember, Living Witness, and that introduces the theme of the album. So we wrote the concept of it, and we filmed it in 2 days, and that became the video that we used for promotion, basically. You know,
I have to say though, my number one piece of merch that I wore on all my tours was that Ontogeny Pillars of Perversion shirt. That
hell
was
yeah.
Yeah,
I wore that
rock
like
that motherfucker for a
I
long time. Dude.
rocked it from beginning first tours with Odious to all the way till the last tours with Decrepit. It was just all fucking falling apart and shit, and I still would just, that was like my comfortable shirt. I would look at it and be like, yes, that's my shirt I'm putting on for like a week.
Yeah.
Can I screen share the Big Cartel page because I got it ready?
Yeah, sure. Does it hopefully it doesn't like take you to some like Korean porn site or something?
No, it's already loaded. So, you know, I here it is. So
Boom, it's up.
you
So
got
it's
the
still- it's
antisocial
still on
media.
Cam? Okay, yeah, so we got some shit.
Oh yeah.
Wait, I got both the shirts, but there's a hoodie. Oh shit, dude, I gotta get a hoodie.
Damn, son,
That's
it's
the
cold
album
outside.
art. Yeah.
That's
Oh,
the
it comes
only,
with a
that's
guitar
the only
pick.
piece of Ontogeny merch that I don't have, dude. I got all the physical albums, bought them all blind because I knew they were gonna be dope. But I did get a sneak peek of that anti-social media when I came over to your house those couple times I was trying to record. That's a little inside. My first attempt on synesthesia was going to Nate's house. He was going to be tracking me, and same thing you were saying about with key schedule. It's just a scheduling thing, dude. We're both guys that fucking work a lot, and
yeah, it's rough.
it worked out well for me to be able to do it at my house, you know, eventually. But yeah, I see what I want your setup, dude. Like everybody who has been seeing Nate right now doesn't know that to the left of him is a nice tracking room that he just recently remodeled, he says.
You're about to get me jacked, dog.
Hey, it's a good thing you live over in Concord, right?
But yeah, I mean, that's like, I mean, I have a studio in my house. I'm lucky to have that. I've recorded a bunch of bands here too. I recorded Jeff Hewell's, is it
Mhm.
Hugel or Hewell?
I don't know. Hugel?
Yeah,
no.
I've known
always
Jeff
said
for a long
Hugel.
time, so
Me too. I've known him for like 20 years.
Yeah, I've known him for so long. He's been here, hung out, just like socially too. So I feel bad that I don't know his last name, but
It's kind of like your last name though too. You've been Nate.
So if I'm wrong, I'm sorry.
yeah. But yeah, so I recorded his first album. I recorded the band Covet. Keith, our drummer, played for Covet, who's a vet young. She's an amazing guitar player. He played with Covet for a while. So recorded their first album here.
That's cool.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. I like this part of it too. So taking this out of what I'm doing wouldn't be fun, even if it leads to a higher fidelity or whatever than I could do, because I don't have the best gear. Studio gear, you can go crazy. Those studios you go, a lot of it's the room, a lot of it's all that. But for me, it's the process. A lot of it is the process, and it's learning.
And earlier you were talking about being inspired too. Sometimes you're not inspired, and if you have studio time booked, or you're going to work with a friend and you're just not feeling it, like one of those days I wasn't feeling it. So it's like having a setup at home. You work when you feel inspired, when you have the time, and that's the part that I love about it. You know, like it's just downstairs if you want to go lay a couple lines down, or do you got this idea for shredding this fucking solo over this part, you go down and you go do it when you have that. Because like literally getting ready for the deeds thing, I've probably mentioned it before on the podcast, but like those patterns literally just fell in my lap one night. I was laying in bed, and you got to get up and you got to fucking go do something to at least like get you to remember it the next day, or do it in the moment, you know, because you could either lose it or you know, your voice wouldn't be ready. It's just like being able to jump on that inspiration as soon as you get it is what's so beneficial of having a spot like
It
that
is,
at your
especially
house.
for recording on the fly. I feel like there's the balance too, right? Because there's a discipline with it too, because there's distractions at home too. You could you know, just look over and be like, oh shit, there's a huge pile of laundry I got to do over there too, you know. So
Yeah.
it's very much your focus and your drive. So for a lot of people, going to the studio is that. It's I know when I go to the studio, I'm in the studio, I'm making music, this is my creative time. But for me, like you said, you get inspired, you just go downstairs. Music is just my everyday. It's what I enjoy doing every day. So if I wrote a riff that's cool, I'm going to record it right here and do that. And then when I track my albums, I kind of keep it very much like, all right, we're tracking our album now, this is the date we're doing it this day and this day and this day. And it keeps that regiment, that keeps the focus, which is what I feel can get lost in home studios, a lot of the focus part of it. So scheduling is huge for that, because
Yeah.
especially with me, if you tell people like, dude, I work fucking 60 hours a week, so when I say be here at 7:45 and we're going to record from here to here, like this is my window, this is what it is. So we take that seriously, and luckily Keith can track really fast. And so, and it's always a fun session. Sessions are always fun to me when I get to record with my band, you know.
Hell yeah.
Recording's fun. People feel stressed when they record. I love recording. I think it's fun. Even if I'm just failing every take, it's still the process. The failure is part of the fun, you know. Getting it is, you know, once you get it done, that's the fun. It's done. You did it. It's the moment in time you captured, and you can listen later and say, man, that was garbage. My playing is terrible, but at that moment you said, this is the shit right now. I love that. So it's all moments in time for me, you know.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So what's in store for Ontogeny right now?
I'm still writing. I always write music. I got like probably 4 or 5 songs done. I'm doing this album a little differently too, because I started realizing my relationship with my computer writing music changing a lot too, with having program drums available, and how that changes the way I write. Because when I wrote Pillars and Discord, I wrote without program drums a lot, and then would program the drums after. So to me, what this album is I'm not tracking anything until I write songs, and I'm not recording any ideas. So everything to me is something that I consider to be catchy for myself, catchy enough to where I'm remembering it throughout all these weeks. I'm remembering all these riffs enough to build songs, and then I'm gonna see how they fit on a grid, and you know, fine tune them from there. But it's the things that are sticking in my head are obviously to me catchy because they stuck in my head. I play riffs that I forget all the time too, where at the time I'm like, that's kind of cool, but I forgot it. But then I go, oh, I remember this one though. Why do I remember that one? And if I keep remembering that one, I start going, that riff's more than another riff to me, because I it's sticking. So I like it. So that's this whole new album is kind of playing with that feeling of the catchiness, you know, to me, you know. And when I say catchy, it's still going to be death metal, obviously. So it's not, you know, I'm not going to open for Paul McCartney.
um, yeah, well, I just wanted to say, I guess I'm not sure how to like, disentangle the different guitar riffs on Omnivalent, the material I'm most familiar with, but listening to Ontogeny today and going back to, I've listened to it, sporadically over time. It's just so many ideas, dude, packed in such a small amount of time. You rip out like millions of notes, but all with a lot of creativity, and it's not like a riff salad. It's definitely like, a well composed set of ideas. So I don't know. I guess I want a little more kind of insight into the creative process and how those riffs that you're talking about, whether they're catchy or however, whatever gets put down. Like, I don't know. I'd like to hear more about that. It's just,
Yeah. So the creative process of Anomalous or Ontogeny, because they're kind of different. Like I said, Anomalous' creative process was the three of us. and I
I
can't.
think he's trying to get at
maybe the ontogeny then. Yeah, just because I was listening to Discord today, and like, yeah, they're just so many riffs, and there's, I don't know how to describe it other than like colorful. Like I hear like a lot of colors when I listen to your guitar playing, like a lot of different shades.
What,
You're giving me a virtual
synesthesia?
boner over here, dude. This is awesome. I appreciate that. That's what I want to do basically.
Yeah.
Paint that image, and like I said, when I write, it's very much clear thought. I don't know if I ever write saying, all right, I'm writing this riff, I'm gonna write a death metal riff. I kind of just play guitar. I just have fun playing guitar. If I want to record something stupid, I have tons of shit that I know as I'm recording it. This is ridiculous, but it's fun recording and playing with ideas and hearing shit and playing with sounds and doing that. Whether it's a cool idea or not, you're still making something. So ontogeny is very much just playing guitar and then finding the theme, and that's what I think you're talking about when it's composed. Because to me, I like I said, I practice songwriting. So when I hear songs, I hear thematic stuff, and I hear a whole picture of a song, which is why I could really get into bands that pay attention to that, Pink Floyd and the Beatles, and even Meshuggah, and just a lot of bands pay attention to themes. Ion Dissonance is really good at that, where they have a theme that can come back for a second in a different feel, and you go, oh, that's from that riff, oh, and it's gone. But or you have previews of melodies and harmonies where you say, you get used to a chord, and then that chord comes back at the end with something over it. So it's very much thematic writing. So I'll write a riff that I say, that is going to be the sickest riff in the song. I know that is what I would listen to and say, it's a build up to that. It has to be. So we write around that thematically, melodically, rhythmically, and we have fun with those ideas and keep mixing it around and rewriting, and then just keep just messing with chords and sounds. It's really very experimental for us. And like I said, I never can just write a song and say, like, I'm going to write a Meshuggah song right now, because I'm not Meshuggah, and I'll never be Meshuggah. I'm very much Nate when I play guitar. I think anyway, I play guitar. A lot of people that I've tried to play guitar with say, like, I don't know if I like your style enough to play it, because it's really awkward for a lot of people, because I taught myself how to play guitar. So a lot of things are normal for me chordally, but aren't normal for other people, I guess. And then having Max come in and inject fusion ideas and his chops too, and that, and Chaz, the rhythmic inspiration, all that stuff created kind of ontogeny in a sense. It created this paying attention to rhythms and different feels, and saying, well, I'm feeling this riff in 4 right now. What if I play that same thing that I have in 4? If I play it in 6 right now, what would that do to the pulse of it? How does that change it? And the great example of the best person in the world doing that right now is Tigran Hamasyan, the piano player. I've seen him play.
Yeah. I gotta thank you for turning me on to him, dude. That fucking mock album's ridiculous.
That guy turns me on more than you know, sir. The fucking, that, like, I can't listen to that guy's music without going, ooh, the whole time, like the whole time. It's just, it's so exciting. He writes in that way thematically, where you hear ideas build and you hear him come back with something else over it. You hear him in a different feel. He slows it down. He puts it in 6. It's just, that's my rhythmic boner, melodic boner shit. I love it. And he does what I wish I could do, basically.
Absolutely.
Discord,
for all of us, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, Discord and Disillusion was me experimenting with fusion and death metal. I wanted to, I was like, I like chunk riffs, but I want to have Thomas Pridgeon play over it. I want to hear fast snare 16th notes and not necessarily fast kick, because Keith, he'll tell you first, he's like, yeah, I'm garbage at kick. I can't do anything past 190. And he'll be, as soon as you'd be like, no, speed up, he'd be like, no, you slow down, sir. So so that whole album's 250. So it, to me, that was fun, was like, oh shit, I wrote a 250 album. How do I play with Keith? How do I make it fun for me and make it sound like I want to hear it? And now when I play with Keith, I can't hear it another way. I really can't. It's playing with him, seeing his ideas. Sometimes I laugh as I watch him play because it's just so fun because it's different every time. You know, he's very improvisational, so it's cool.
On Discord, I really like that track 9, the instrumental.
Oh yeah,
I mean, I like
instrumental.
the whole album, but like that track really stood out to me. It's
Yeah,
really
so
impressive. It's cool.
that song, Keith improvised that whole drum solo at the end, first time hearing it.
Oh, really?
And that's what my solo is, first time through improv solos. And there's there's mistakes in some of those solos in that album, and I kind of wanted to keep that. Some people's like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard, dude. You kept mistakes on your album. It's like, no, I kept a moment is what I kept. You know, for me, I captured that moment that I did that, and I was feeling that mistake at the time. I didn't give a fuck that I did that mistake, because I did that and went, fuck yeah, that shit's sick, and I liked it. You know. And you know, maybe I wasn't smart enough to hear it at the time, and now quarterly I can say, oh, that's the wrong key, I'm soloing in the wrong key. But like I said, I don't consider myself a great soloist, so when I do something that's improv and I feel like, that's fun, that worked,
you're just playing out for a second, like
yeah,
that's like you're talking about jazz. I mean, if you play out of key, that's just playing out for like a second. If you come back in key,
yeah,
it's fine.
I try to do that. But yes.
yeah.
So the instrumental, it was that's one of the songs I enjoy playing live too, is that instrumental song, because it's really fun with Keith and the soloing back and forth between us.
Sick.
Yeah, I have fun with that's very much one of our fun improv songs together, you know.
That's so cool. You do that one live or make a point. That'd be sick to see you guys do.
Yeah, I think
is that the one you played for me, like at your house? I think
no. So the one I played for you at my house, I remember that because that was really weird. First off, because I went to a family dinner with Angelica, R.I.P. Angelica.
Yeah, R.I.P. Yeah.
I went to a family dinner with her, and then I was like, the fucking bassist for Odious Mortem is at my family dinner right now. What the fuck is this guy doing at my house?
I hate it when that happens, dude.
I was like, no.
Joel's walking around like
I was like, what is this guy doing with my grandma right now? This guy's in a death metal band. Get out of my family, bro. No,
I remember that clearly. That was an awkward situation.
Yeah, we went to my I lived in a sub basement at that time. It was awesome. It was 3 stories down. I lived in a nice house. You'd walk in and be like, this is a nice ass house. And you'd go one more story down. You'd be like, where are we going? Then you go one more story down. It was like a dungeon. You're like, dude, you're about to murder me in here. I had no insulation on the walls, concrete floors. And the song I played for you was track 2 on Discord and Disillusion, and it was Discord.
Okay.
I wrote that shit earlier today. Yeah.
Have it highlighted right now.
Yeah, I loved that song live, dude. That riff at the end would always fuck me up.
That's a fucked up riff, yeah. And then so that riff. So talking about themes, and I love talking to people who are interested about the themes. So that ending riff, that's actually the verse riff, played in 4 now, but it's taking out the notes of it. So you're now not focusing on playing. You're just focusing on the rhythm of it, but then it comes in 4. So when you hear that riff that's played in 6/8 back and 4 at the end, it pushes it into a weirder feel. And
I'm hearing it right now, actually, in my headphones. I just went into it. Sorry for all the listeners out there. It's playing in my ear right now. That's awesome, man.
Maybe can I just ask? Did you guys ever tab out anything from Anomalous Omnivolent yourselves?
No. So
okay, because
we get asked that so much, and part of that is how we wrote it, right? It's like, I don't know all of Mac's riffs. I know some of them, but Max doesn't know any of my riffs too. And Tim's riffs were recorded by me and Max, but he wrote a third of that album too. So we all wrote so much of that album, and every song is written by all of us.
Fuck, that's crazy, dude.
It's so hard to do that. And that's why that album is very much, it's 3 personalities that want to fight for their parts in the song, which is it's that. And it's, to some people, that's too much for them, because it's like, there's too many riffs, dude. You could listen to 30 seconds of Omnivolent and say you can write 4 songs with the amount of riffs that are in that fucking thing. And to us, we couldn't. That's what we wanted to do. You know.
Well, I just wanted to, I don't know, did you see that Here, I'll share. This is metal music theory. This is a grad student at Columbia Department of Music. He's in the music theory division there, and he like
Holy shit.
transcribed the song Omnivalent and MIDI recreates it, and it's actually like a video, or you can like watch,
Bro,
listen. It's Guitar Pro version of it, basically.
he can teach me my own songs. Sick. Nice. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
That's what's up. I mean, hell yeah. First off, whoever enjoyed the music enough to do that. That's fucking unbelievable. I tabbed out the beginning of the song Revelations from our first album.
Mhm.
And it took me fucking forever. Just one riff. And I said, I'm never tabbing anything ever again. I'm not going to do that. And it's just something some call it lazy. Sure. It's not what I find enjoyment in music doing. So I'm not going to do it. And that's unfortunate, but that's what it is. You know, I like when people come over and they say, teach me your riffs. I teach people riffs that I know from Omnivalent that I wrote. Like I said, I can only play what I wrote for that. It's such a weird album. And it kind of sucks too, because people always go like, oh dude, play this riff. And I'll be like, yeah, I can play that part of it. And then call Tim and he could play this part. And then you know, Max, he could play this part, you know, but that album was very much all of us listening to the songs. Again, it's about the songs for us and not individual riffs. It's always songs. I'm a song guy. Always.
You can still play that stuff now? You still remember that?
I can play my riffs. That's what I mean with my writing and my riffs. It's very much what I remember a lot of the times and things that stick with me and things that I'm just noodling around and keep coming back to. So the way I'm writing this new Ontogeny album is kind of what I always did, but it's more so because I'm not recording anything pre-production. So, but this is I can know things that came natural to me. It's when like something came natural to me that Tim or Max said, hey, we have to change all this, change all this, change all this. Then I'm like, oh, I kind of don't remember what my riff was anymore. I remember my original part of it, but I don't remember what it became unless I sat down. Like I can play it technically wise, if that's what you're asking. Like I have the chops to play all the stuff that I've written always. I kind of never write out of my ability guitar wise. That's why I put mistakes in my album. If something's too hard, you can hear me struggle with that shit because you'll hear a note slip sometimes, and that will be in there because that's me struggling, and that's how I played at that moment. So that's what it is. And yeah, dude, that album's fucking hard. Omnivalent is the hardest guitar shit I've ever had to play, for sure, hands down. But I've never had to play it live either, which is a whole different beast. I don't know if I could play Anomalous live without a mass amount of rehearsal, a mass amount of it. And that goes into how we wrote it. We said this is gonna be a studio album when we wrote it. We knew that going in. We didn't want to play it live. We knew we weren't going to. So we wrote it like a studio album. We wrote it like, hey, I'm gonna be on the first fret right here, but then all of a sudden I'm about to be on fucking fret 22. And then, you know, and it's gonna be at 250 all the time because it was very much the song. We think of David Lynch. Max and Tim are very visual in how they talk about riffs too, and so am I. Like we talk about like it's like the Tesseract, and we're deconstructing. It's just Max went to art school. He's an artist, and we're very much like that together, and it's fun because we think of music weird.
What's your favorite Lynch piece?
That's hard. I would say my favorite is Mulholland Drive because it's the perfect balance of what I said. It's funny a lot of the times, but at the same time it makes you feel so uncomfortable. Things that shouldn't make you feel uncomfortable. There's two people eating at a diner, all of a sudden you feel like, dude, I just want to leave the room because this is so uncomfortable. And I love that. And
recalling a nightmare from the night before and wondering if it's real, and then getting taken out to find out that it is real.
It's fun. It's playing with emotions is what it is. And metal, that's why I like metal a lot too, is things can be so uncomfortable and you're accepting it as being comfortable. Things are abrasive and you're saying, this is making me happy. It's playing with your emotions. Metal is very much that. There's times where you feel happy and it's anger. There's times where you feel like this is Twist, right? That shit is ridiculous. But when I first heard it, I went, that's the sickest fucking thing. It's so heavy. It's unbelievable, you know? And I still love it for that reason, even though I can laugh at it now. I could almost laugh at it then too, because it was so much like, what the fuck is that? What the fuck am I even you know, this is ridiculous. At the same time, it's ridiculous, and I'm nodding my head to it, and I remember it, and I still talk about it when I'm fucking old man now, you know. So that to me is, it's capturing moments and playing with emotions. Music is visual to me. It's like I said, I walk into a department store, I hear Lionel Richie, I'm listening to fucking Lionel Richie more than I'm even focusing on where I'm at. A lot of the times I'll start, hello, is it
dude.
me? You know, and I don't even know what I'm doing.
Dude, I was at CVS the other day, like Whitney Houston came on, like, how do I know? You know, just like, and I was just like, God damn it, fucking, it was like getting to me. Like,
Yeah.
Oh man, you just put that in me. How do I know?
yeah. I was just like, shit
That shit's
slams,
sick,
dude. It's just like,
Whitney Houston's voice is fucking unbelievable.
oh,
Art,
dude,
Whitney
it's
Houston.
like the Freddie Mercury, like, of the but like, even better, really. But honestly, but that, like, that cutting glass vocal, like,
Dude,
style,
unbelievable.
just
Freddie
like
Mercury too, dude.
piercing perfection, like Whitney Houston, oh man, just like, you're like, God damn it, how do they sing like that? Like,
I
that was,
always
like,
said, like,
before the autocorrect shit, right? I mean,
dude, Freddie Mercury. I watched a documentary on Night at the Opera. The studio engineer who recorded that album actually had to tell Freddie Mercury, "Hey, you're singing so perfectly in pitch with your other track when they double track that it's phasing."
yeah,
Which
yeah,
unfucking
Jesus.
believable. He was sonically exactly the same. So Freddie Mercury is going to be one of the best singers to me too.
Well,
Judas
dude,
Priest, Freddie Mercury.
yeah. Well,
But
I used to, we talked about it last time. I'm you know, infamous for these karaoke parties we used to have. And anyways, back up in the city and in San Francisco, you know, in Daly City, a little south. Anyways, but like, I remember one time I put on that, like, live Queen concert, like from 79 or whatever it is. It's like this, like, when, and I just got it on Blu-ray. I had just gotten it, and I, like, just got a Blu-ray player, and I put it on all this. And like the whole party, like, Joel, you were there. We, like, everyone, like, stopped and just, like a Bohemian Rhapsody came on
Yeah.
on Blu-ray and HD, like, all loud, and we all just, like, were silent, like, watching it just, like, live. Like, holy crap,
Dude, I went home and ordered my own copy after that.
Yeah, we were all like the whole party was silent, just what.
Well, I knew he was amazing. I was like, that was always like what people talked about. But Jesus Christ, I remember
But
seeing that just
in
like,
that shit, that I know what night he's talking about, dude. And in that night, I realized, like, Freddie Mercury was the quintessential front man, because he was a whole fucking shebang. He could fucking belt it out. He could wail on the keys. He could dance around. He could fucking get you going, you know.
Yeah.
And no fucking lip syncing on, none of that shit. It was just fucking pure, real, raw, fucking
the confidence,
organic
man.
talent, dude.
Just the confidence that guy had, like, just to like get off the piano and someone throws him like the fucking mic with the half like pole thing, and he's just all bam,
Like, in
just
time,
like
it was
goes up
like
and
one
nails
and
it.
two
Like,
and three, boom, catch, boom, sing. You know,
yeah, I was like, whoa, that's so.
I mean,
so
I'll
real.
try
Like,
to
he just
catch the
dropped
mic.
it. Yeah, I know.
Mike, but what comes out afterwards would not be Freddie Mercury.
Dude, I would fumble the mic. I would fumble the mic so hard.
and he had that, like, grit and, like, raw and growl to his voice, like, with that emotion that was just.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean,
just
he's
nailed
one of
it,
my
dude.
favorites. I have favorite death metal singers too. Is like, I mean, Jens from Meshuggah is one of my favorite singers. He's just perfect. The rhythms of Meshuggah's vocals are so tight. It's
Yeah.
But listen to Corridor of Chameleons, the vocal patterns on that song. That motherfucker's rapping, but he's singing like somebody just raped his mom in front of him. It's fucking unbelievably. It's like my favorite performance ever. It's so fucking angry, pissed off, but the rhythms are so interesting. It's everything that I wanted to hear in metal at that time. So he's one of my favorites. And Corpse Grinder too, man. Death metal, Corpse Grinder.
Yeah.
Hearing Bloodthirst, I was like, dude, I can understand what he's saying. That's crazy. I don't know if I could ever do that before with a death metal singer. So Corpse Grinder was one of my favorite.
It fully settled with me when I saw him live, and the mic was like this far away from his fucking mouth, and he was just as
belting.
audible as fucking any other death metal vocalist, but in front of a fucking huge band, you know?
Yeah, dude.
And I was like, all right, that neck definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's
What
not
about-
just muscly on the outside, but there's got to be like extra like hollowness in the fucking chamber there so he could just belt it out.
Dude,
Yeah.
I was backstage at Slim's once, and Corpse Grinder I was like smoking a cigarette in the backstage, and he just comes out right before they go on, and he just does the fucking like the brutal windmill with no music, just he's just like he's right there, just like windmilling right next to me. I was like, what the fuck? He's just
Dude.
like doing it's like the full force windmill, like getting his neck, getting that fucking that
Warming
neck
it
ready,
up,
you
dude.
know? Yeah.
Warming
I was
it
like,
up.
what the
So
fuck?
Joel, I just want to let you know. So that was one of the first stories you ever told me, and that was the funniest fucking thing I ever heard. Because I heard that and I went, that's what I would hope he was doing. I don't.
Yeah.
I kind of hope I imagine that's what he did, and now I know that's what he does. But
I mean, you got to. I mean, if you're gonna be windmilling like for fucking an hour and 20 minutes, like you got to be
Yeah.
you got to have a little warm up, you know?
But you
No,
know
it-
how sometimes you have conversations about just like normal shit. So, and like, what if he's talking to somebody? He's talking to like Alex. Like, so then she fucking told me like, you gotta fucking.
That's a good one.
I
But
must.
I just
go ahead.
gotta say though, dude. I mean, I love all the albums with Corpse Grinder so much, but dude, Gallery of Suicide is like a special.
That's Corpse
album.
Grinder, isn't that Corpse Grinder?
Yeah, fuck
yeah,
yeah,
it
it
is.
is,
Oh,
dude.
yeah.
Dude, Vile was his first one, right? You know, and
Vile's first
I've-
one, then Gallery, and then yeah.
I've actually heard the one where like Barnes did vocals on it before, like whatever the demo thing, whatever. But
Oh, for Vile.
yeah, and
fuck that shit.
Barnes is fucking badass. But I love Corpse Grinder, and dude, like I think Gallery of Suicide is such a fucking brilliant album, dude.
Fuck
Like,
yeah.
god damn it, that album is so good.
That instrumental is what got me into Cannibal Corpse, the From Skin to Liquid.
That's
Oh,
what
that-
Pat
that was-
O'Brien wrote. That was the
fuck,
first one
dude.
he wrote.
Yeah.
That's
But
like
that
I remember it
album-
was
So good.
no, it was at the live cannibalism at the credits they played that, and that's when I was because live cannibalism got me into Cannibal Corpse pretty much. But I was like, yeah, I was showing it to my friends to be like, this is brutal. That's pretty much what I was doing. I didn't really actually like it yet, and but the song at the credits From Skin to Liquid was playing. I'm like, this is like the heaviest fucking thing I've ever heard.
it's a
Like,
badass
and then
song,
like
dude.
I went and just listened to that a bunch, and then I slowly through other bands like was like accepting of the growl slowly but surely because I was still in my Slayer Sepultura like mode, you know what I mean, like and Pantera, and then like the growls were always kind of funny to me. Like I never took them seriously until yeah, first it had to be, you know, it was a step process. It was like, okay, I like From Skin to Liquid. All right, like I'm gonna start mixing these, like this band called Garden of Shadows, which actually the bass player of Dying Fetus's early band. They're like kind of a melodic, kind of like a at the gatesy kind of death metal band that was on Earache and just did one album that was amazing. But yeah, once the fucking vocals clicked, then I was like, the fucking world just opened for me. My brother was all into death metal back in the 90s and early 90s and stuff, and once he saw it click for me, he was like, you're fucked. He's all, this is gonna be your whole life. You're so screwed. He's like, he thought that like you're into Slayer or something before. He's like, now you're listening to Deicide, like you're just gonna, this is gonna be your life now. So I'm just letting you know. And
Hell
he's
yeah.
right.
Yeah, Gallery of Suicide, dude. Blood Drench Execution. That song, the tapping in that song. Cannibal Corpse was huge, man. They had, and it's because the groove just so fat, and it's what I liked about Deeds of Flesh too a lot. They when I first heard and it grooved in an odd time signature, I was like super down with that. I like the groove, Dying Fetus groove, Animosity, Animal. I just been giving that a listen the other day. That album's so fucking inspirational. Naveen is such an amazing drummer. So natural sounding too. That's a huge favorite. More favorite singers like I just death metal. Outside of death metal, I like Layla Hathaway. She's an amazing singer. I like all sorts of singers. Bjork is an amazing singer. I saw Erica Badu live, and she's an amazing singer, but I'll never see her live again because she fucking made us wait like 3 hours before she went on stage. It felt like anyway. It was like forever, but man, her voice it's unreal. So I just like so much music. It's hard to say like favorites, I guess. So I picked genres like if I'm gonna join a death metal band, I want Corpse Grinder, and I
yeah. No,
Yeah,
Corpse Grinder just has that relentless, yeah, and like you said, it's phonetic. You can actually hear what he's saying. It's not just going to be like,
Well,
I mean, remember one of the bands I won't mention. They've been on our podcast once, but the singer came up to me after the show once. I was all, dude, that fucking last album was sick. He's all, you studying the lyrics? I'm like, no, like I can't understand. You're just barking. You're not saying anything. Like, I was like, I said that in my head, but I was nice about it. But he was
well,
just
you
like,
failed the exam.
I know. Well, dude, you're just going like, blah, blah, blah. I like read the because he
Yeah.
said that. I went home and I read the lyrics to it. And I'm like, you're not saying any of that stuff. Like I know you're
Well,
just barking stuff. Like
it was like Cannibal and also Suffocation for sure too. Like back in the day, like Pierce from
Yeah.
Within was just like, oh my goodness, dude.
yeah,
What is this? Like,
you know,
when you first
Suffo
heard
came
that.
late for me. I didn't even hear Suffocation until
Oh, really?
Souls to Deny, and I saw it
Oh,
live,
crazy.
and that, yeah. So I
Yeah.
was all. I was into old school death metal, and I was listening to like I guess the Cannibal Corpse side of it, Monstrosity. I was really big in Dark Purity.
in Dark
That
Purity. Yeah,
was
fuck
huge.
yeah.
Meshuggah kind of fucked up a lot of shit for me. Meshuggah and Opeth kind of took over. Opeth for me was huge, and they still are. Not their new shit. I don't know what they're doing with it. They like it, whatever. But the old Opeth up until like Watershed to me
Yep.
Yeah, me too.
is some of my favorite music. Blackwater Park and Still Life
Yep.
are just. I just
Ghost
read their
Reveries.
book. It's unbelievable. And Meshuggah kind of does the same thing for me, where I don't think I'll ever touch any of those albums that I liked.
Yeah,
I'll
I was
never.
listening to Opeth yesterday, and every time I was listening to either Ghost Reveries or Blackwater Park, and I was like, they're just the best songwriters. That's just
Yeah.
what's happened. That's just
Yeah.
that's just it. There's not. I think the line has been drawn, and then there's no one that's going to do anything better. I don't think. Like I listen to that stuff, I'm like, it brings you on such a range of emotion, ups and downs, and takes you on like a little journey. Like they do it the best I've ever heard. And it actually took me a long time to get into them. I didn't like them until 2013 or something like that. And I was dating a girl that showed it to me, and I got into Ghost Reveries was the first one I got into, and I was like, what the like once Ghost of Perdition clicked with me, I was like, what the fuck? This is like a full, which I still think if I had to pick my number one metal song of all time would probably be Ghost of Perdition, just because it brings you on those highs and lows, and it fucking builds you up and like drops it in you, and then fucking brings you back and keeps reeling you in and out, and it's like
It's
to me
probably their
it's
best.
yeah.
I think it's probably their best song. I agree with that one. That album is so good. Still Life though, for me is the
Yeah.
as an album. Like I just drove through the woods in Northern California last week, and I bumped Still Life. That's the album to listen to. It's like Joseph was saying. It's like colors for it's pictures. It's all that. When I see
Yeah.
Opeth, I see foggy trees. I see Blackwater Park. I'm in Still Life. I'm in that red theme when I get
Yeah.
Yep.
it's very much colorful. It's all about color for me, and that's why I like the Mars Volta. They bring me to that too. They give
Oh,
me
yeah.
that color palette that's just like no one sounds like
Yeah.
this, even though they're pulling from influences of 70s prog and all this stuff and Latin music. No one sounds like the Mars Volta, and it's so heavy. And I saw it live in New York. I flew to see the Mars Volta because I was so inspired. And I saw Thomas Pridgeon play live in the front row. And the singer, he's not hitting the notes like he does on the album because he's auto-tuned. I didn't care because the energy was just so fucking amazing, and they were just so good. There was so much improv. It was just such a live experience that I left saying, well, that's my favorite band right now. That they're
Yep.
so good. Like these moments are just moments that inspire me to play myself. That makes me go, that you did it, dude. You inspired somebody to play music. That means you made something tight, whether it's good or bad. To me, you inspired somebody to make something. That's cool. That's sick. Whether it's somebody
Totally.
farting on a mic or whatever. If somebody says, "Man, this guy's farting on a mic," I'm gonna show him, and he writes something tight. Fuck yeah, we got something tight out of it.
Well, there was the Carrie episode goes really deep into the fart aesthetic. Yeah.
Oh
It
yeah.
is an aesthetic. I mean,
Yeah.
our bass player Kenji prefers it. He actually hates my vocals, to be honest. He's just kind of he's like, yeah, whatever. It's whatever. Just do what you do. He likes farting, fucking, and that's what people like. It's again, it's you're listening to somebody screaming. So to me, the things to listen for are like, are your rhythms tight? if you're screaming and your rhythms aren't tight, that's like you took something out of it. It's like same with rapping to me. Like rapping it can be melodic, but if you're a rapper and you're not in time, what am I listening? Your lyrics better be sick then, but most of them aren't. So,
Mhm.
so there has to be something for me to grab out of something. And I've listened to noise music, and I can get out of that too. Just it's whatever. If it's painting the mood for me, where I'm going, this is putting me in a place that's sick and inspiring. I like it, and I like going to shows like that too. And Mars Volta did that perfectly with the noise incorporation. They brought it into pop songs. I was like, this is a Grammy winning band, but they're playing noise right now, and they're playing with delay pedals, and their drummers going nuts, and they're
Yeah.
improving, and it really inspired me, this whole catchy heaviness thing.
Maybe it's time for me to revisit that band. So my story is I saw them open for System of a Down when I was 15 years old. And it was like really cool. And I probably remembered the songs that they were playing like when they started, but they just built it up into where it was just, noise. And I remember just looking at my friends, I'm like, all right, how long is this going to go along for? But I was only 15, so I didn't really, I was stoked to see System. So maybe it's time where I actually like delve into the albums and actually unpack what they were doing. It's
You
been a
should.
while. Yeah.
You definitely should, dude.
The
Yeah.
singer's hard to get by for a lot of people. And same with like Rush, Geddy Lee, that whole like the high pitched male singing is for some people. When I first heard that, I thought it was the same as farting vocals. Basically, I was like, this is comical. He sounds like it's a joke. But then it's because I wasn't mature enough to
Yeah.
take it in. Same. I heard it at Universal Studios when I was a little kid. They were playing it on the fucking intercom of Universal Studios. They were playing Deloused in the Comatorium, and they played it over and over, and I was like, they kept playing the Now I'm Lost, and I was like, this guy's voice is weird, but I always remembered that melody, and I heard it 10 years later and went, oh shit, I remembered that from being a little kid. And then I listened to the whole album, and it's the best shit ever made. So Deloused in the Comatorium from front to end is a perfect album to me. There's perfect Anima from Tool, perfect album.
Oh yeah, no, I agree on that.
Casey, who's sorry, go ahead, dude.
No, go ahead.
The drummer friend of yours who was at Visions for a minute. I'm trying to remember his name.
Jesse Charno?
Yeah, dude, Jesse. He was jamming with Thomas Pridgeon up in the Bay for a little bit. He was like hanging out with Thomas up there.
Yeah, dude, he lives in Berkeley. I saw the Dillinger Escape Plan at the Parkside, and this guy walked next to me and went, "Hey, is Dillinger on yet?" And I went, "No, you're Thomas Pridgeon from the Mars Volta." And I was just like, like, "Oh my god, you're the best, dude!" And I fanboyed out. So I fanboyed out for drummers, I think, more than anybody. Like, I saw Snarky Puppy live. I don't know if they're fucking an amazing jazz band.
Yeah.
And Kamasi Washington opened. He's a fantastic.
Oh, I love Kamasi.
Yeah, and Ronald Bruner Jr. played drums for him. He's played for Suicidal Tendencies, and his brother's Thundercat, who's one of my favorite bass players too.
Yep.
I was just thinking about him like 30 seconds ago. I was like, I wonder if Nate's down with Thundercat.
Oh, dude, I've seen him 3 times. He's probably one of my favorite bass players for sure.
Oh, dude, his Tiny Desk little 12-minute fucking 3-song set, dude. Oh my god.
But again too, so seeing Kamasi Washington, I didn't know anything about Kamasi Washington when I saw him. I heard a stand-up bass player solo, and I went, that guy sounds like Thundercat. And I couldn't see him, but I heard Thundercat in his playing. So there it is again. It's like he injects his personality into his playing. I heard Thundercat without seeing him. And then I remember Snarky Puppy came on, and I'm watching their set. They're amazing. And I looked next to me, and Ronald Bruner sitting next to me, the drummer that I've been so inspired by. And I went, sorry, man, I'm gonna have to fanboy out. You're Ronald. You are Ronald Bruner. You don't know it. And yeah, he was super nice and like talked to me about music, and it was great. So I get inspired by just musicians of all sorts, piano, whatever instrument you're playing. I get inspired by people who are inspired too. Even if you suck, if I see somebody rocking out and owning their shit like they meant it to do that, I get inspired by that. I'm like, fuck, that guy's doing it. He's rocking his shit.
He doesn't give a shit. Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, like, I was you were talking about like Alice in Chains and stuff kind of earlier and stuff, and I was jamming some stuff with a student, like, and like just super appreciating Jerry Cantrell's guitar playing, you know, and like it's like so soulful, and he shreds, but like in such a cool, tasteful way, you know, and like it kind of like reminded me like I love that song on your guys' album on Hymns. I Hymns is my favorite. Just I
Right
love
on.
everything that you have done, but like that,
Dude, coming
I
from
don't know,
you
for
guys,
some
this is
reason that's
fucking
just my
nuts.
favorite. It's they're all great, you know, but I just love Hymns. And Presence of Mind, that track 4, is such a cool like instrument. Like it kind of reminds me almost like of like some like Mad Season influence. Is there any of that in there? Like that kind of
Uh,
like the tambourine and like the
I love
build up.
Mad Season.
Yeah.
I do love that. So that song, I wrote that song because that was my collaboration song. I was like, I want to
Mhm.
have Mark Hawkins from Florida solo on it. The piano solo is
Okay.
my buddy Chaz, that
Sick.
I've talked about playing his piano solo.
Yeah.
Max is on, I think, that song as well. That's an example of me saying, "Hey Max, I have a song solo over it," and him just playing it. You know,
Mhm.
so I don't know directly what that song was inspired by. Oh, I can say this. It was inspired by playing my dad's Ovation because it's such
Oh
a
yeah.
hard guitar to play. I picked it up and I plugged it in. It has a very weird sound. It almost sounds electric because it's playing through
Super
like
small body, plastic
hard
body.
Cool.
backs.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I wrote that beginning riff because it was almost the only thing I could play because the action is like 1 inch off the fretboard.
Dang.
So I wanted to have a song that was my dad's guitar
Mhm.
because the other song on that album is called A Generation Past, right? So there's the instrumentals are basically like past, present, and future kind of
Oh,
thing.
okay. Sick.
So Generation Past, I wrote that the day my grandfather died. I
Mhm.
said, man, I feel horrible. I'm going to take off of work. And I went home and I wrote and I recorded that whole song. And I wanted to keep that. It's
Cool.
so music is all about moments to me. Like I said, it's not
Mhm.
necessarily if I played everything perfectly. It's if what was, did I feel like I captured that moment the way I wanted?
So bringing up your dad again and talking about moments and how you guys were able
Yeah.
to resurrect a moment that you thought was lost.
Yeah. So
Let's hear that story real quick. I
my
thought it was
dad was a
cool.
musician, and I met those rides in his station wagon I was talking about earlier. He would play his demo from when he was fucking 25 years old, and it was folk music. It was a song called "To Be With You, Irene," who's my mom. He's still with her. It was called "Cruising Down Mission Street" in San Francisco, and those are the songs I knew. I knew of 2 songs, so there was only a tape of it that I knew of in existence, and that tape is gone forever. And I was cleaning their house and I found the master reel, the 1/4 inch reel of it. So I brought it to Hyde Street Studios in San Francisco, and they tried to play it and they said, "This is too damaged." Apparently the glue melts in them and they can't spin anymore. So I took it to some guy who melts it and they unreel it and they wipe the glue off, and he remastered it to bring it back to where my dad had it, which was him singing and playing guitar. I found out there's a third song I didn't even know about, and I brought it to my studio and I went, well, it's my dad singing and playing guitar, so I want to jam with my dad right now. So I put drums on it and I put bass on it. I put layers on it. I put ebos on it. I harmonized it. I took that new song, I put sick feels over it and made it like a dark song. And for Father's Day, I had like a 4-day window to do it. So I got the master tape. I listened to all the songs. I recorded them, and then Father's Day, I gave it to him like 4 days later. And my dad was like, what were you gonna listen to? And I went, you'll see. And he just heard it, and I saw like what music does, right? When he heard that, it literally made him go like, you brought my ideas what I wanted to hear back. He's like, I heard it like you just did it. And what it did to
Damn.
my dad was make him go, hey, I want to change that part into Be With You, Irene. And I was like, dude, it's a gift, bro. It is what it is. It's done. You didn't but yeah, then that's what I mean. It's like, it's moments in time, right? These recordings are moments in time that you're going to listen to later, and whether you played them well or not, if you don't play them well, you're going to listen to them older and say, I could play that better now for sure. I'm
Yeah.
better now. You hear that progression. If you're always perfect, then that's what
Yeah.
you're going to hear. Fine. I would hope that you play perfectly all the time. I don't. I certainly don't. And I don't capture those moments well either. Just perfect playing. I capture what I consider to be moments, you know.
That's a great story.
Yeah, it's awesome.
My
man.
dad's
Love it,
also a folk singer, and he's got songs, and I should probably record him playing them now that I'm thinking about it. Yeah.
Just do blast beats over him.
Dude,
Oh,
Yeah.
Dad, I remixed your song. Check it out, dude.
Yeah. Lo-fi, like, yeah.
Yeah, we have Diego playing in the background just to kind of like give it a little.
Yeah.
it
Just
was weird though, dude, like putting your headphones on and like I could hear my dad talking to the engineer, and it was just such a weird feeling because I felt like I was with my dad when he was my age, basically.
Yeah.
I was like,
What a trip.
I'm in the studio with him right now. It felt so weird. It was such a cool moment for me musically. It's like one of my favorite moments musically.
Dude, you're never gonna top that for fucking Father's Day gifts, dude.
Dude,
I know.
You're fucking done. You topped out right there, dude.
it is
Yeah.
pretty much it. Everyone said it too. They heard it and they were like, well, I don't want to even give my gift. Yeah,
Like it's gonna be a boxes of chocolates from now on.
the guy's fucking crying over here now.
yeah.
I got him
No,
crying.
that's super fucking cool, dude. It really
yeah.
is a fucking cool story.
So
Yeah,
was your
that's
dad, is he like a San Francisco bohemian kind of guy? Is that like the
No,
image I should have?
my parents are working class. We're tradespeople. You know, I'm a sheet metal worker. I'm a union sheet metal worker. My dad he was PG&E. He worked in the warehouse of PG&E, and he became an engineer, field engineer at PG&E. My mom was a banker. We're just a middle class family, really. You know, my
Okay.
dad is not a hippie San Francisco guy. That's what I mean. San Francisco is just I love San Francisco as a city because it's just it really is what you get out of it and how diverse it is. And for me, San Francisco was finding Amoeba Records. It was the Pound. It was this community of musicians all over the place. It was
Wait, what's the pound?
exactly. It was
Uh,
the Pound. You know,
There we go. All right, I gotta take a shot.
Dude.
Badoom.
you know, it was it's that feeling of collaboration that I always liked, and I feel San Francisco for me is that. And my studio kind of is a hub for that. When I'd have people over to play music in bands, and we always have fun just playing music with each other. Like, hey, solo over this thing. Let's trade solos back and forth. And now people, when they're in town, they hit me up and like, hey, dude, I got some time. You want to solo over some shit? Like, fuck yeah, come over. Let's play guitar, trade ideas, and show me what you're working on, because you can inspire me just as much as the other way too. That's what music is. You see somebody do something, you go, that's cool. What's that technique? And you learn a new technique that can make you learn new ideas that are in your style now. You know, it's that's what we're all doing. You know, we're collaborating with each other, I think, or should be. You really get something different out of music when you collaborate, I feel like.
Mhm.
Even though Ontogeny is written all by me in the sense that I write all the songs, it's a collaboration. Once it goes to Keith and we start hearing how drums work over it, because it becomes Keith saying, nah, we should change this to work in this way and do this, you know. But hell yeah.
Hell
And
yeah, dude.
Hell
it's
yeah.
so weird hearing like you guys talk about my shit, because like Decrepit Birth and Odious, Cryptic Implosion, when I first heard that. First off, oh, by the way, I was gonna try out on fucking bass
Oh,
for Odious. That was also a mention in one of your early episodes. You said, yeah, we tried out some bass players for Odious, and then we ended up on Ivan. I was the bass player that you were gonna try out. And
did I hit you up
learned it.
about that?
Yeah, it was after you saw me play in the basement. You went, dude, I'm gonna hit you up you wanted me to play for Decrepit first, or try out for Decrepit. And
Okay.
and I saw Decrepit's tabs, and I started learning their songs, and I was playing them, and I was like, these are so not my style. I love the songs, but it's just not what I want to play at all. So I kind of just was like, yeah, it's not for me playing.
That's right. I think we had a guitar player that was pretty much ready to go, and then one day he we're getting close to tour. We're getting like 2 months from tour or something, and he's like, I'm not into it. And we're like what then? I think that's when I hit you up immediately, because I'm like, I know a guy could easily play this shit. And yeah, I think you actually I think you actually said that to me. You're like, I want to, but it's just not my deal. Like you're more of the rhythmic style, with your weird chords, chunking, off time shit. Like
Which
Decrepit's more
I
just
love
like,
Decrepit. I can't imagine myself playing it is all. Like I love when I bought Prelude to the Apocalypse because of the album cover. I bought it because I went unique leader, and that's the sickest album cover I've ever seen. So I bought it. And I when I first heard it, the production didn't phase me at all because I heard that production went, this sounds fucking weird. And I
yeah,
like
yeah,
it a lot. It sounds like I'm listening to this band in their basement shred some fucking death metal,
yeah.
and I it captured a moment, it captured that moment in time. And I always think of hearing that and then seeing it live and seeing those riffs that were like the Suffo shun, shun, shun riffs
Yeah,
with the
yeah.
kick, and seeing what that did live, you know what I mean? And seeing the crowd move to those riffs was like, that's what's up. They get it because these moments, they're moments that are sick. I just couldn't imagine myself playing it. And then the Odious stuff on bass, I think you ended up getting Ivan to play, but I learned a couple of songs, and I love Odious a lot. And again, it's just like so not my style of playing. I couldn't imagine myself
Yeah.
learning it,
It's a weird style for sure. We know. Yeah.
It's so not my style of playing it. It was just,
Yeah.
I realized like my style is so different too, that I almost have to be in a band that accepts me for my playing, which is what Anomalous and Soul Sunder did. Was they
Yeah.
said, we like your style, we're going to bring your style in. And I always felt like if I played those, like those bands, I would never be able to play my style. It would
Well,
always be something else.
it's cool that it's all super different,
Fuck
even
yeah.
Yeah.
though we're all like influenced by the same stuff. Like you
Hell
do
yeah.
a lot of, it's so cool. It's like listening, like, I've heard your stuff a bunch, but like re-listening to all of it. Like I always listen to everything before the episodes to like refresh and stuff, and just out of respect for the guests, and because I don't have a full-time job right now, so I got time to do that. And
Hell yeah.
man, fucking, it's like, it's so cool, like hearing shit that you're just like, fuck, dude, I would have never thought of that,
Yeah.
And then there's some things that are similar that you're like, oh yeah, yeah, cool, okay. It's still unique and different, it's like speech or something, or like everyone that talks the same, whatever. There's connections, but like there's like that thing where it's like, oh man, like a bunch of parts, I mean a ton of parts where I'm just like, holy crap, like that's so like original, like so,
Yeah, yeah.
Well, right on.
I would have never
Thank
thought
you.
of that. And then you shred like so gnarly at guitar too, like your solos. That was
Right
like
on.
one of the main thing. I was texting Joel and Anthony, I was like, dude, so like some of those solos, I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude, like really, really like virtuoso style, like, but like really sick. Like it's
Fuck,
not about
man.
like they're
With
fast and all
feeling.
that,
There's
but it's like the
feeling.
note choices and the writing is what it comes down to. Because
Well, I think what fucked me up about Nate is that
yeah.
he was a bass player to me.
Mm.
Before, when I walked into your basement, your third floor or whatever basement, you were a bass player to me, and you're like, oh, you're like playing a guitar, and I was like, oh, that's cool. He's playing guitar too. And then, then he played me, what was it, Discord, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, this is insane. Like, it's same thing. Dylan from Brain Drill. So he was in, I forget, Burn at the Stake, and me and him were jamming to be. He's like, he was recruiting me to be the guitar player, Burn at the Stake, and then he's like, you know what? I have all these other songs that I'm starting this new death metal project. Let me show it to you. And then he played it in front of me. I was like, what I don't even know what that is. Like, what is, I don't even understand, like, because he's got this no music theory approach, just like visceral, this is what I think sounds good. I taught him like how to harmonize, like he didn't know like anything. He like basically knew that he could fucking play really fast. He can, had like super insane picking abilities and stuff, and he could, play riffs really fast, and he was really spastic. But yeah, then I went through that whole thing with him trying to find drummers with that band, but that was a nightmare. But no, one of those just kind of like self-taught fucking freaks that just had his own palette that he painted with, that I didn't make any sense to someone that was just trying to keep it in the pocket, or like understand the normal sense of music. Like I was just like, what the I remember like bringing Casey and David into the room and being like, hey Dylan, play that thing you just played for me. And they were just like, what? Like I don't even get like it's insane, but I don't get, like my brain's
Yeah.
not understanding it. You know what I mean?
It's almost like your brain has been drilled, if you will.
Well, here's a point that I don't know if it's been made, but like in some fields, like, you know, like theory, like there's like stuff that happens, and I don't know. In sciences, you know, we usually think theory, we use it to predict what's going to happen. In the case of music, it's like the music comes first, and then you have to invent the theory to explain the music. It's always the music, and the originality and the creativity comes first, and then it's up to theoreticians later to figure out what the hell just happened. And people haven't done that yet with metal. It's one of my projects, is like starting with Diego's kind of stuff when I play with him, trying to tab that shit. It's like people just haven't fucking done it yet. And like when people like Nate come to the table, or even Dylan, it's like it's not like what they know isn't theoretical. It's just the theory isn't developed
Applicable,
yet
yeah.
or even applicable yet. So the theory and the creativity comes first. That's
Definitely.
what's interesting about
Guthrie
art in general.
Govan said that. Guthrie Govan, one of my favorite guitar players
Oh
ever.
yeah,
He's made
one of
that point. Yeah, I've seen it made a few times. Yeah, that's cool.
He was asked that, and he said, "I would rather somebody who just can play before you know what you're playing in the end." But I recently started taking lessons, like in the past 3 years, for music theory, and really seeing what I was doing and noticing, like, because I'm all by ear and what I want to hear. So I started seeing, I was doing stuff like this. I was playing this chord and I was in this mode, and started getting into the theory more of it. But even then, I'm still not there yet. As far I'm very much feeling based. I'm an emotive player. I consider myself to be that. So if I start getting too much into charts, I start just getting bored with it. And
That's what Mazzatello from Decrepit was always saying, stuff like that. Like he didn't really know any theory at all. He doesn't know any, like, what's going on at all. But he's like, he basically is just all, if you can't, I mean, I don't know if he really put it like this, but this is kind of how I remember it, was like, if you can't like if it's not coming out naturally and it's not like flowing to you, and like you're not writing music in a way that, like, you know, makes sense to you, then he's all, theory is a way to fall back on something that could kind of categorize it and make you kind of understand what you're doing, or maybe give you a path of where to go next. But he was kind of just like, it sounds good, so I'm just writing it. You know what I mean? That's kind of like where he was with it. So
my opinion about it is that you don't need to know theory to shred or play music. It has nothing to do with like being creative, you know. But it is interesting to know more about what you're doing and kind of stuff. And it's kind of funny watching some people like I feel like some people act like they know, like it's like kind of cool with guitar to like act like you don't know theory, but you do, you know.
Oh yeah.
And like and it's kind of a thing, and I think it's kind of a little funny. So like, for example, Marty Friedman is a sneaky one. So like, you know, one of the best guitarists in the world, who is one of my favorites in the entire world, but he'll always be like, oh yeah, I don't know any theory, like I don't know anything, and then he'll just be like, yeah, so I just go from this Hirojoshi scale like down to this, like, you know, this scale like flat 9 to this, like, you know, like just like jumping around, like you're like, I'm playing a Japanese scale, or like whatever he calls it, like all of his the fifth of the Hirojoshi or whatever it is, like, you know, all these like super theoretical things that he's just like, I don't know what I'm doing though. You know, you're like, dude, good, come on, you know. So
once you start being able to
and the funny part is when it comes to drums, like rudiments in theory is like everyone's all about it. Like, oh, do you know how to do a, you know, fucking pataflappa fucking, you know, Radamacue paradiddles, like, you know, inverted paradiddles, triple paradiddle, you know, everything like is a total like, oh yeah, like. And so it's kind of funny to be like, oh, you know, like you don't need to know, I don't know. But
I think with drums though too, you gotta like, drums is one of those things like you can't get away with like not knowing stuff.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Yeah, you're like,
it's gonna sound like balls if you if you don't know. Like if you're just
I've
like,
heard,
I don't know theory.
Like, I don't need to count, dude. I just fucking 1, 2, 7, 8, 9.
I've heard Tesseract.
There's some drummers that do.
Tesseract, they're like, we don't know what we're doing. We just feel it out. And I'm like, do you really? Like, yeah, it's a good question.
Don't.
Oh, Mars.
No, it's art, dude. It's fucking art. I'm not saying you need to know anything to make great music. I'm not saying that at all. Like, it is art. You don't need to know shit. I'm just saying it's funny that like some there's like a pride that goes along with not knowing.
Yeah,
like, I'm sick, dude. I don't know any of that.
It sounds the story is way cooler.
Or to be like, I'm so good, but I don't know anything.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like the story is way cooler, like about
That's
yourself.
all.
If like, oh,
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
felt it. It came out of my own talent.
It's like
Almost
come
like
on,
it
yeah,
fell
you're like
out
a,
of me.
you're like
Yeah.
a conduit of something else that's channeling it through you.
Exactly.
You're just
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
dude, I
yeah.
don't even know,
Yeah.
dude. I don't even know.
I don't know.
So
how
that being
to-
said, I just want to let you guys know that I'm a conduit of something else. That's
Yeah.
I think that's funny. That's kind of interesting though, because I feel like almost metal before was the opposite. The people would like to say, "Oh, I learned theory. I was classically trained in
like
doing it."
Randy Rhoads.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was almost the exact
Yeah, exactly.
opposite. And now it's like
Yeah.
it's gotten so pristine that people are like,
Yeah.
"No, I suck though, actually."
Yeah, I don't know anything. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
I don't know
for
what.
me,
Yeah,
it's
man. Come
it's truthful for me that it's just not something I ever focused on. Songwriting still, to me, like I said, I consider myself to be a terrible soloist in my eyes because I've seen Max play around me. I've played with somebody that I say, that dude knows what the fuck he's doing, because he could sit in that room.
Yeah.
I can hand him a guitar and he plays what's on an album. That's to me what's good for me. I can do that, but I get comfortable with a chord change. I play it, and then I'm like, okay, now we're jamming with each other. We're playing. Now I'm in my groove. He's
Okay.
instant groove. So when I say I'm a shitty soloist, for me, it's like
You're
I
not
realize
a shitty soloist, dude.
I'm
You're-
not the worst
You're
guitar
so good.
player, but I've seen good guitar players, that are just make me feel like quitting guitar every day. That's
Well,
all.
if you're a shitty soloist, then like we should just never record a solo again on any of our albums.
Dude, you guys got Jarzenbeck on Cryptic and
Well, yeah, but that was him, not us.
No,
Yeah,
dude,
yeah.
no,
That's-
that's
I just
he
mean
was a
us.
conduit of us during that. solo.
Jarzenbeck is a wizard,
dude,
I'm just
He's a
a
joking.
scientist.
sorcerer of the guitar.
Yeah.
amazing.
so-
But that dude
Cryptic
also
is
knows
really
his
good.
theory too. Yeah.
And he does know his theory.
Yeah, I know.
He's
that's
the
true, like-
opposite of the I don't know. Yeah, he knows.
Yeah.
He fucking knows.
He knows
But
it
he-
backwards.
Yeah.
He has
uses
created
it
his
as a
own
tool.
theory.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a fucking scientist of the guitar.
Well, Blotted Science, he like used theory to write that out. Like that album is
Oh,
all
dude.
based on theory, and
Yeah.
he used it as his
It's
tool.
like almost algorithmic. Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
cr-
which is kind of what you hear when you
yeah.
listen to that album. You hear the mathematics of it almost, and how calculated it is. And Jarzenbeck is such a calculated player. His timing is so perfect. All the notes fit perfectly every time.
Yeah.
He's an amazing
Circle
player.
of 12 tones or some shit.
12
like
tone
that.
shit. Yeah.
He's
Yeah, he
I don't know if
definitely
this
one of
is
my
true.
top
I don't know if
favorites.
I read it, but doesn't he like translate sentences into notes somehow?
Oh
Like,
yeah, and letters
Oh,
and
yeah.
like and birthdays and all kinds of shit, dude.
Fuck,
Bambi
dude.
Names. Oh,
He's got his own app, dude, that does it.
Oh,
It
yeah.
takes sentences, or just you could put like
dude.
"fuck you, Anthony," and he'll be like,
Yeah, exactly. Make an-
I bet you that fucking scale's sick, bro.
He'll make a riff in like Anthony Trapani, and it's like
Sorry for the "fuck you, Anthony." That was just my.
That was kind
Yeah,
of
dude.
rude.
I know it's kind of aggressive.
Fuck you for
Jesus.
calling
It's
it
the whiskey. It's the whiskey. I just went to whiskey.
Gotta settle down, dude.
What
That's
kind of, is that
good.
good whiskey or
Song ever.
shitty whiskey?
It's fucking like $90 bottle. My dad got me.
What is it? What is
I
it?
don't even know. Some reserve, whatever.
Nice.
But he got me. No, he told me to go. He's all, "Hey, son, just stop by this liquor store in Aptos. You have a gift waiting for you." And I went there, and it was like this fancy, 20-year aged something. It's fucking
Nice.
amazing. It's so good. That
Is
was the
it
last sip
bourbon
right
or
now.
is it rye?
It's bourbon. It's bourbon.
I love bourbon, dude.
So Nate, like,
Yeah.
what are your like top influences as guitarists?
Guitar, I mean, John Lennon for sure. John Lennon's actually a great rhythm guitar player, strong right hand playing, moves chords really fast. James Hetfield was huge. His right hand technique, he was so solid with that. Then Frederick Thorndahl, Meshuggah, his solos are some of my favorite. Bouncing in a Bottomless Pit from Soul Niger Within is one of my favorite solos of all time. It tickles me so well. And let's see, I would say Frederick Thorndahl's probably my favorite right now for sure, and he kind of always will be. Meshuggah is, I'm wearing a Meshuggah shirt now. I can't see it, but they are my special band where I will always see them live. And Frederick Thorndahl's gone now, but they got Pierre Nilsson.
I know. What's up with that? What's up with the Frederick Thorndahl thing?
Dude, I don't know, but Pierre Nilsson's really good too.
Oh, he's
So
awesome. I follow him on everything.
I wanted to feel bad, but then I saw him start soloing, and I was like, "All right, he's good.
Yeah.
We're good."
No, he's amazing. I was always kind of like, half in with Meshuggah. I like love the timings. We're talking 2017 or 16. I was like, I was like half foot in, half in, like, okay, well, I get their technical timings. I was still not understanding. I mean, Chaos Fear, my brother showed me when I was a little kid. He handed me he bought me Chaos Fear and Calculating to Infinity from Dillinger. And like 99, he handed me those two things. He's like, this is the new shit that's coming out. And I was like, what? And I just showed it to my friends to be like, yeah, I have the crazy stuff. My brother just shows me. But Trevor, like, we went to an Aftershock festival over in Sacramento, and we got super close from Meshuggah, and I watched them play live, and I was like, what in the fuck is going? Like, I was like, it clicked finally. It finally made sense.
Wait,
It
was that the
finally, like,
2017 Aftershock?
Yeah,
with,
yeah,
with
yep.
Tool,
Yeah,
Tool, and Slayer.
Tool, Slayer, Meshuggah.
I was there,
Primus.
dude.
Oh yeah,
there
yeah.
too. I was
Oh, yeah.
absolutely there. I got to say this too about that and what I
Missed
thought.
connections, bro. Yeah, what's up?
I'm a huge Tool fan and Primus fan too. I've seen Primus a lot. I thought Meshuggah upstaged Tool without visual.
Me too. Me too.
I saw.
Actually, no, I was completely blown away. I was completely blown away by Meshuggah, and I was attributing it the next day. I was like, I must have been just like really drunk and smoked a joint or something, because I was like sitting there like hitting Trevor and going, damn, what the fuck? Because they were so
I was in
tight.
that pit, dude, during
Oh,
Future
yeah.
Breed Machine. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
Nate, quick guess of all of us who is Swedish. All four of us.
I'm gonna guess Casey Howard. Is that right?
No.
No.
One more guess.
Casey Howard. I'm just kidding.
Joseph.
Joseph is Swedish.
I got half Swedish blood, yeah.
Nice.
And then the other side is German and Austrian, Polish, kind of Jewish, general Eastern European. Yeah, it's the Germans.
Germans and
The German Jews who had to immigrate, that's why we came. So
That's
America's chilling for that,
Fun fact, yeah. So
one of those German Italians. So. Hell yeah.
My Meshuggah's experience was fucking with
He's sober too.
Did I just do another? I know. Did I just do a decrepitated tormentation, dude?
Meshuggahist.
Going deep reference. And Cynic at Slim's, dude.
Oh yeah, no,
They
totally.
blew my fucking
Faceless.
I was into it. Yeah, Faceless too. Yeah,
I saw that tour also. Yeah.
Yeah, I was down with Meshuggah at the time. I was like, damn, they're fucking crazy and heavy. But something about that Aftershock show just like completely twisted. I like to the point where I was like listening to it every day. Like I was like I was like, finally, like I get it. Like
your third eye just finally.
Yeah.
Fucking
Well, I mean, I just
up.
Listen to it, and I still actually, Nate, maybe I can pick your brain on this off this, but I just don't understand. Like I know the fours kicking. I don't understand how they're writing like number wise. I know we toured with Veil of Maya, and they kind of had a similar like number scale. They'd be like, oh, that's like 7 2 3 4 7 8 4. I was like, oh, what? And then like,
so to me, like, I think Meshuggah doesn't write like, I definitely don't write like that, and Meshuggah doesn't, and that's why I separate Meshuggah from gent bands. Because what I think what a lot of people end up talking about are groupings of eighth notes, where they say, oh, there's 8, there's 4, there's 3. They're just groups of 8 notes. Meshuggah is not just groups of eighth notes to me. Meshuggah is a cycle of 4/4. So if you listen to something in 4, it takes 4 measures to cycle back, or sometimes will take longer than that. So Meshuggah very much for me is a trance. It's they put you in that that jungle trance of we're fucking that's what they do. They bring everyone to that moment of jungle trance. You hear fucking, it's very tribal, it's very much.
I feel that.
I don't get that from a lot of the gent bands, because there's a lot of the poppiness about it, which is that style. So I definitely don't think Meshuggah's in that. Meshuggah's visceral to me. They are capturing something that people have in them that sometimes they don't know. I show Meshuggah bands to people that don't like metal, that are jazz guys, and I show them Future Breed Machine, and once the ending comes on to that, they always go every time, whether they like metal or not. It's that band that does it. Or I show them Soul Niger Within, and they go, this is something outside of what I knew metal was. And Meshuggah's a band that transcended genres, because jazz bands John Zorn said Meshuggah is one of his favorite bands. Tigran Hamasyan's inspired by Meshuggah. He's the Meshuggah, and they never stop screaming too. They're one of the bands that don't have clean vocals. They never stop screaming, but yet they are every genre. People go, yeah, Meshuggah's pretty good, dude, because they have something that's unique and cool and interesting and tribal. Like I said, you hear it.
It is tribal. It's like archaic. It brings kind of like a caveman part out of you. No, I definitely feel that.
And live, it transcends that. And what that at the Pound, that lit that place on fucking fire. So take another shot because I said the Pound, but that place. I remember for Future Breed Machine, the last song they played, I got thrown on stage to where I was sitting on the stage at the Pound, and I was rocking out, and I didn't realize that somebody's head was under my elbow on the stage, and I'm sitting there. I'm grinding this dude's head into the stage of the Pound. I don't even know it. But he didn't give a shit because it was Meshuggah, where everyone's losing their minds for Meshuggah, and I still do that. I saw Meshuggah with fuck. It was in San Jose at the Rock Gallery. It was recently with I love him. Intronaut.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah.
An amazing show. And right before Meshuggah played, I went, I'm taking 5 shots of Jack Daniels and I'm running to the top because I'm an old man and I need to get drunk to do that shit. So that's what I did. And
that's awesome.
It was awesome. It was
after that Aftershock show, I made the commitment, like anytime they come around and I can feasibly get to it, like I'm going. I'm buying tickets in advance and I'm going. It's just like one of those bands that it took that Aftershock show to be like, all right, well, it clicks now. I get it. Like I get it completely. You know, and
seeing them live does that. I think.
Yeah,
they're a live band,
and they're so fucking perfect live. Is like the part that fucks with me. Like going from live and then like I'm gonna go in my car and listen to it tomorrow when I'm going to work. It's this almost the same experience once you understand it live. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like you're sitting there just like getting chills and shit. You're like, Jesus Christ! Like for me, my favorite. I'm a new school fan, so just I mean, Chaosphere. I obviously loved. You know, I forget that song, but I loved one song off that. I used to yeah. I used to listen to that all the time when I was a kid. But I love that one song, but then that song Clockworks.
Elastic, I think is that song.
No, it's called. I think it's called Chaosphere. I think it's like a self, something like that. Chaos. I don't even know. But yeah, look it up. Look it up. Jamie,
I know every note of that song and I know every rhythm of that song, but I don't know if I know the title. But I thought it was
the song Clockworks. There's a
that's a newer one. Yeah,
it's a newer one. With Thomas Hawk playing that through. Like there's a video of him playing that through, and I like showed it to my dad and all of his because he's like he's on to the Aristocrats and kind of like the new like Gunther Gove and stuff. Like he's on to like kind of the new school or not new school, but just like that dad kind of shred like Satriani, Vi. Like he's all into that stuff and the players that play with him, Stu Ham and all
it's
the
Neurotica.
I've never referred
What's it called?
to that as dad shred, dude.
Neurotica.
Neurotica. Yeah.
Oh, dad shred.
Yeah, dad
dude,
shred.
That's a new term for me.
No, he's like deep into the dad shred. And he'll like show me these bands and stuff, and it's just like got that satch. It's got that satch bounce to it, like the Satriani kind of.
With the alien, dude.
Yeah, it's like and it's just like them just jamming on this like basic thing, but they're shredding, but they're jamming on kind of this like bass. They're not like the songwriting part is not really there. It's more like improvisation or like off a basic kind of rhythm or something pretty rhythmically. It's pretty basic, but the playing is really good. But it's. So I just like to shoot him like once I got into like Meshuggah, I sent him that like Clockworks video. I'm like, check this out. And he was like, what the fuck? he got mad at me. He's like, I don't even know, dude. Like, stay away from me.
I remember showing my dad Meshuggah and him saying, this guy sounds really angry at something. And I was like, I think he might be, dude. He's really pissed off. He was screaming. Dad rock, that's a funny one.
Yeah. No,
dad
totally.
shred.
Dad shred. Yeah.
What'd you say? Dad shred with the Satch vibe, dude.
Yeah, it's like you're getting a little outside the box. It's like you're into like Dream Theater that's a little outside the box of Dad shred, but it's right also in the fucking pocket too.
It might be a little too far, dude. Satriani is like the one they're like, nothing touches Satriani.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear it. Satriani's the best. I know exactly the type of person you're talking about.
Exactly.
Eric Johnson.
Eric Johnson. I love Eric Johnson though.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know
let me-
one
yeah,
that's
they're
cool
all
is
insane.
Jimmy. So
Yeah.
like when I got showed Jimi Hendrix as a little kid, my mom showed me, and I remember being scared by Jimi Hendrix. And that was a cool feeling as a little kid, was watching. I was like, this fucking guy is humping his guitar amp,
Lighting on
he
fire.
just lit it on fucking fire, and he looks like
Yeah.
he's possessed.
Well,
And I remember being scared, and that feeling of being scared was inspiring too. It made me go like, maybe the Beatles being such a happy band isn't all there is too, you know? Maybe there's something outside of that. And then Metallica, that like, you know, some dad rock shit is still the sickest shit ever. I
Oh.
just listened to Mahavishnu Orchestra,
Oh
the
yeah.
Apocalypse, which is
Yeah.
it's produced by George Martin, who produced the Beatles.
I
There's
love
some
that album.
moments on that are heavier than
Mhm.
death metal right now. And
Well,
was that?
Hendrix is like the original dad shred, like dude. You know,
He
and
is.
also I've noticed, you know, because you know I'm going into new careers, but I've been teaching music a long time, and like dad rock used to be like Kansas and Styx and all that, and Toto and all that kind of shit, you know. And now, dude, dad rock is like Nirvana.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like,
Oh
and
yeah.
it's
I know.
transcended. I'm like, dude, I mean, I'm like 37, you know, and I'm like, God damn it.
You know, actually, when everything got weird for me was I was listening to a classic rock station. They're like, "Okay, up next, Nirvana," and I was like, "Oh my god,
Yeah, classic
it's-
rock. They
That's
put
classic
Nirvana.
rock now."
No,
Oh my
no,
god,
It's
dude.
not. Guns N'
25
Roses
years.
is the last classic rock band.
Well, it's 25 years makes it classic, right? So it's like our
No,
antiquing now, right?
no, it's a genre. It's not an era. It's a genre. It's a style. Yeah.
I wouldn't even. Would you? I guess Guns N'
No,
Roses.
it
you
is.
consider classic
It's
rock.
a genre. I wouldn't consider Guns N' Roses classic rock, but they could.
Yeah, I
be.
wouldn't either. Yeah, no, it's like classic,
know,
like
AC/DC is
metallic
classic
rock.
Aerosmith is classic rock. You know,
Yeah.
Zeppelin
like
is
that
classic
shit.
rock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Van
I-
Halen is like, I don't know. Like
I mean,
Van
it-
Halen is the start, I think, of hair
80s. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like 80s rock, or
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like heavy metal. Who says heavy metal, dude?
I know.
You know,
Is that like Motley Crue? No, it's.
I mean, heavy
metal.
metal's more like butt rock. Yeah, like Motley Crue and shit like that.
I will say this: I hate this resurgence in Motley Crue. I fucking I
Shots
hate-
fired.
they are garbage. I don't care what
This is
anyone
something we
thinks.
need to talk about, right? now.
Casey's the only Motley Crue fan I know.
I like
and
two.
I'm not a
I
Motley
like
Crue fan
I like
per
three
you're into
songs.
it. You
I like
got me
3
into
songs.
it, so
Well,
you know.
see,
No,
it's
no,
one of
no.
those bands that you listen to and you go, God damn, they had a lot of fucking hits. But then you go, I hate every one of these songs. I just
Oh
hate
yeah,
it.
no.
I hate everything they stand for too.
I
See, I
like
like
him from,
heroin. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I know. I like him from like a music teacher standpoint. Like I'm like, I'd rather play this than like, you know,
Oh,
Imagine
yeah.
Dragons or something, like, you know. So I'm like,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
dude, okay, cool. Let's do some old Motley Crue. Then the older stuff is pretty fun. But
And they tuned to D. They tuned to D per year.
yeah.
They were like one of the first bands that tuned to just
Nah,
straight
dude, Nick
standard
Mars is
D,
cool,
right?
man. Whatever. But yeah, but I'm not. I mean, I'm not. I've never cared about Motley Crue. Like, you know, I honestly, it's just like in modern times. And after
Dude,
that
I
movie
like
came out, it was
Kickstart My Heart.
Yeah,
I like Dr. Feelgood. I like
Fuck
Girls,
all
Girls,
these
Girls.
songs.
I like all 3 of them. I like all 3 of them. They make me
Dude.
want to just drink beer
I'm
and
happy they did it. They
talk
have
to-
all had fun, but they're horrible to me. I
There's
can't-
nothing more death metal and Cali
Yeah,
death than Motley
that
Crue.
type of shit doesn't appeal to me either.
The
What's that
OG Cali
stupid-
death, dude.
I
that
know,
movie, dude. That
Oh,
the
I know,
dirt
I know.
dude, Nate, I'll fight you, dude. I'm just kidding.
I know, yeah,
I'll
yeah,
say big
yeah,
ol-
over
That's
Motley Crue.
Guns N'
bro?
Roses is way better,
It's
dude.
like, for
Come
real,
on, you
dude?
know, yeah.
All the history, and you're gonna fight me over,
Over Motley Crue.
No, but
No,
I
no,
still
they're-
like Guns N' Roses. Like
Yeah.
there's some good shit. Like Slash is awesome, and
Slash is an amazing guitar player. for
yeah.
sure.
So okay, at least we can agree on that. So.
Can
No,
I-
I like it's
Yeah.
specific to Motley Crue
But
because I
I give a shit
hated.
about
I think I hated the dirt so much. That movie.
Oh,
offended
that movie was so
so
silly.
much. I
Yeah.
think that's
I think
what
it's
really
the best movie ever
I think you
made.
just hate Machine Gun Kelly.
yeah, totally.
is that the guy who played somebody in that?
Tommy Lee.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I know he's the rapper. He was. I didn't even know.
And now he's dating like Megan Fox or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
He played Tommy
Yes,
Lee. Oh man,
Jokes
just
on us.
every scene.
I know,
in
right?
that
Jokes
movie,
on
though.
us. Yeah. But
Can
yeah,
Can I take things
Tough.
back once a little on the Meshuggah trip? Did you guys check out Car Bomb yet? Because Car Bomb are like
Oh,
Meshuggah
yeah.
2.0.
Sickest shit ever.
Yeah.
Car Bomb's another band where they took. I mean, they don't sound like Gent to me either. They made something original with
Yeah.
with influence. You know, it's so original when you hear it. And they're another band that I could tell that I don't think they're playing with a metronome.
No, they don't.
Play.
No,
It's
They don't
very
even
much
play to a
live.
click in the studio. They just jam it out. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
really like the raw aspect of the first one. I forget what it's called, the one that came out on Relapse.
Mm.
That was my first introduction, because that came out at a time where it was like, if it came out on Relapse, I had to check it out, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I stumbled across that shit, and I was like, fuck yeah, dude. I still go back to that. I mean, their new shit's like,
Centralia.
there you go. Their newer ones are still just as good. It's just like it's way more clean production, clean, you know, playing.
I actually love the production. So
I think
good.
it sounds really good.
Oh yeah,
I like both styles. It's true. Yeah.
I just like the raw, like it just feels a little more human on that first record. I like that human feel, you know, but it's still there in the newer albums too.
I think their new shit is just it's next level. I think they're really pushing some rhythmic ideas that haven't been done before.
Totally.
The slow down, speed up stuff. There's
Mhm.
bands that do it really well. And I have like Ion Dissonance did it a lot in their early albums. Solace is a really fucked up album. If you listen to Solace from Ion Dissonance and Car Bomb, those kind of you can see the influence in each other, but Car Bomb is just, they're different because they have this, I don't know how to put it. There's something different. It's less angry. It's more.
Have you heard their previous albums before that band? It was Neck and Spooge.
Oh no, I thought you were saying the previous albums.
Car Bomb. These are pre-Car Bomb bands. Neck was like dude, it's a new metal like mix. There's songs that definitely sound like, okay, yeah, these ideas are the ones that they took and applied to the Car Bomb project after this band. But there's some total like clean, kind of horrible fucking singing parts on that shit too, that you could tell like some guys in that band really wanted to be like fucking part of the new metal scene. But then you had like this band Spooge, because I did some digging on them a while back and found out that it's like a couple of guys from two different bands that were sharing a rehearsal studio, if I'm not mistaken. And Spooge was like really influenced by like Bungle and shit, and you could still hear that Bungle influence in Car Bomb. I definitely think that they take like Bungle throughout their whole entire catalog. You can still feel a little spice.
Did you say
like
bunghole?
Yeah,
Yeah, dude.
You keep saying bunghole.
Am
I can hear the butthole influence. But Car Bomb's great. I love it. Right now, Tigran Amassian has been the person that I've just endlessly been playing. Tigran.
Spell that for me again.
Tigran.
I got it. I just got it. Okay.
Yeah,
found it.
Saving it.
His
I
live
showed you that shit before, Joel.
You have showed it to me, but I just don't listen to it.
The melodies he has are so deep, and the way he builds songs and his rhythmic ideas, and seeing him play live, he's such an inspiring musician. I was standing 2 feet away from him as he's playing, and it's so unreal to see musicians of that caliber just play. You're just like, man, how did you do this? How did you get that good? Like, I don't think there's any amount of practice that I could get.
You know, there's still one band that I'm sorry, I'm probably drunk now, but I'm just cutting everyone off. But the Stratosphere, just still like I listen to that shit and I'm just like, I listen to just Palace of Mirrors, which is more of their catchier album. I listened to it this weekend, the whole thing all the way through, and I just think to myself, I'm like, there's like 9 master's degrees in music playing at the same time. Like, I don't understand. Like, they're playing the shamisen Japanese guitar and then going into like, and they're like bringing metal into it, bringing funk into it, bringing fucking Romanian fucking
Accordion.
folk, like the most insane fucking polka.
3 too, right? Like,
yeah.
Share a lot of members.
I saw Secret Chiefs 3 live, and that was so crazy. I saw such a small venue, and it's like surf music with Middle Eastern stuff. And
there's
Thalas,
30.
I was a huge fan of Thalas as well. I think that's the Stratosphere members. The Stratosphere was great too. I like these bands that find their sound, like we were talking about earlier. Like, finding your sound's cool. It sucks when you hear bands that find somebody else's sound that was found already. You know, it's like, oh, explore your own personality. Once you find it, you start hearing it, you go, okay, that's a more mature sound. So
Yeah.
a lot of people will end up stop playing when that's what they go in for. They're kind of in it just like, oh, I'm going to release a Veil of Maya album, and then they just never play again. You
You
know?
got to have like riffs that
Yeah.
are weird to people, like that are like, oh, that's weird, like cool, like I wouldn't really do that, but like that's cool, you know. It's
Yeah.
like you gotta have your own weirdness, you know.
Fuck yeah, that's what it's all. And pulling influences
Yeah.
all over the place is how I think really what does that. Once you hear
Yeah.
all sorts of music that you start liking, I feel like death
Well,
metal
yeah.
before was way less of that listening to outside influence being cool.
Yeah.
It was very much like, oh, you're listening to R&B music right now, like
Yeah.
get the
Yeah.
fuck out of here, bro. You got to be crushing skulls right now, you know.
Well, Stratosphere, like I lived with the drummer for a Stratosphere for a couple years, and while they were writing Palace of Mirrors, and their their rehearsals were 12 hours. They would do 12-hour rehearsals. They were just the most like everything, like every like mind-boggling thing like that you could think of a band doing, they would do. Like they would like sit and work on a 17 whatever fucking rhythm for like 9 hours until they got it down all together and just were all mixed and all made sense to them. And they would literally practice for 12-13 hours, and they'd be like, all right, we got 20 seconds done. And like they'd be like that's like how they worked. And it was just like sitting, it was just like excruciating. He would just tell me like the excruciating like fucking like kind of Zappa kind of like sitting in the studio and just fucking sitting there forever and just trying to work on this one part until it was perfect, and then they'd go on to the next one. And sometimes he said it would flow like fucking water, and they'd get minutes and minutes out, and sometimes it would just be like working for 10 hours for this 20-second part,
Yeah.
like insane.
I hear bungle a lot in a Stratosphere, and that whole, it's like a tongue-in-cheek goofiness, but it's still cool and tech Primus style type thing.
They were more into it on the previous albums, but with Palace they kind of got mature. But I mean, Buck Fever was my introduction to them, and yeah, Bungle.
They're all great. Yeah, I love those albums.
Well, they bring over a tray for Mr.
Bungle again, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. Maybe I need to get up on the bungle.
I was all about Disco Volante. That album is.
Oh yeah, dude.
They're all great. Yeah.
Carrying Stress in the Jaw. That fucking song, dude. That song's so like a whirlwind.
Yeah. There's so much music out there that's good, and there's so many musicians like we were talking about that aren't even discovered that are amazing. Max, like I said, is in a house in Washington, and he really, to answer Casey's question from earlier, I'd say Max is in my favorite guitar players too, and I got to play in a band with him, and I love seeing Max play. I can just watch Max play guitar for hours and just have fun watching him play, because his ideas are so cool and so interesting to me. So yeah, there's just so many musicians that are amazing. Gospel Chops was an amazing website as a little kid to find, not a little kid, but a teenager, I guess, in early 20s, going into the Bay Area churches and seeing how many great drummers are in these churches just playing in Richmond. And that's how Tony
for sure.
Thomas Pridgeon got discovered for the Mars Volta, was Gospel Chops playing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Awesome. That's cool, man.
And yeah, there's just so many musicians. There's so many people who play it, so there's bound to be a lot of people that are good that are unnoticed,
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Alex Bent, now in Trivium, he's gospel rooted. I think that's what he was doing before he did anything else, if I'm not mistaken, was just gospel drums, dude.
Yeah, that was fun opening for you guys on that tour where Archaic played with Alex Bent.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I
fun.
saw that show, and I saw you play Nate, and that was my live memory of you.
What was the lineup for that again? What was the
so the California dates? You played all of them, right?
We played every
yeah.
LA show that you guys had, and we played the Pacifica show.
Yeah,
we played Oakland. We played like 5 of the dates.
So what was the bill?
Severed, Archaic, Genocost, and then the California dates would have Ontogeny on them as well.
Yeah.
I say this every time, dude, but I wish that Ontogeny could have came out for the whole thing, dude, because it would have been a
Yeah,
tight package.
we
there,
would
dude.
have too. We would have done it. They I guess they couldn't get us on all the shows. They
Dude,
said
you would have made so much money.
I think I could
If
have
I had
been
seen
rich
it,
already.
would have
For
been
sure.
different.
Yeah, I think that was our ticket to ride, and we didn't get it. You know, we aren't we aren't famous.
I mean, it wasn't like the success of a lifetime, dude, but it would have been cool if you were out there with us the whole time, dude. Just being able to see that every night and being able to kick it and get
Yeah,
fucking
well,
blazed
I
all
still
night.
have a blast. You know, I feel like so when Archaic was on, he mentioned that and he said, "Yeah, this tour is kind of beat." I was having fun because I was watching Severed Savior play and I was watching, you know, Alex Bent play, and that was fun. And I have fun playing shows because I have fun playing with my band live. So as cliche as it sounds, I enjoy playing. I've played shows with no one in there probably more often than I've played shows with people in there. So it's really you have to find fun where you get it. And I really do have fun playing with my band in my room, on a stage, wherever the case may be. I look at my band as I play and I have fun with them. So
And I've seen it many times, dude, and I can see that that's a true statement, you know?
Yeah, I've seen that too. I've been to a couple of your shows where it's not that many people there and you're still just fucking like headbanging like there's a 10,000 people in there, you know what I mean? Like you're giving it all you got and fucking I've seen that a few times from you. Just like you're
it's
acting like it's
fun,
fucking
man.
sold out fucking at Madison Square Garden, but there's 13 people there and we're just, you know, we got our arms crossed because we're all looking at each other like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You gonna want to mosh? Are you gonna mosh?
Yeah. I mean, I'm that guy at shows too. To be honest, I'm the hands crossed guy. Are you gonna mosh? I guess for Meshuggah, I'm Jack Daniels running to the pit guy. But, it's yeah,
When in
live.
Rome.
It's
Yep.
fun, you know. It just when you guys are clicking live, whether there's somebody there or not, and it sounds good in the monitors. If it sounds good and it's fun, that shit's fun. We played Texas when we were on tour with Soul Thunder, and there was literally no one in the audience. And I remember we're playing. I walked off stage and I started watching our band play, and I was like, "These guys are all right," you know. That's the first time I ever got to see my band play because there was no one there, and I still had fun for that too. So
That's funny. In Texas, I did the same thing, dude, because I brought a wireless mic with me, and there was only 15, 20, 25 max people at this place, dude. And I just said, fuck it, dude. I'm going out into the crowd. I did like 4 songs. I pitted with everybody while I was fucking doing vocals and shit. Like,
Yeah.
what's up, dudes? I'm down here.
That's
You
fun.
just fucking have fun with it, dude.
Dude, I remember seeing Odious at that show and saying the singer's got sandals on, bro.
Yep, dude. That's me, dude. That's fucking me.
Like,
I
dude,
had a chicken. Fuck, it must have been. It was a southern state. I think I did barefoot that night, and or no, it was the sandals. And she literally came beeline to me after the show just to tell me like, why the fuck are you wearing sandals, dude? And I'm like, are you here to fucking look at my outfit, you know? Or are you here to listen to some music? Because I'm comfortable in sandals, dude.
Yeah.
it's probably better for you on tour too because you get some foot funkage if you don't.
Oh yeah, dude. My shit's got to air out, dude.
Oh man,
Definitely
I
gotta
can only
air out.
imagine if you were those bands who like wear knee-high fucking spike boots and all this shit and makeup
if they-
every night on tour. Oh,
Oh no,
dude.
we
If
toured
they
with
made if they made steel toe sandals, dude, I'd wear them at work, dude.
dude, I toured with Flesh God Apocalypse and they had like the same like kind of like whatever like classical shit they were putting on. And they, you know, it was they didn't wash it at all. They just took it off and then they like shoved it into a bag and then next show and we would like have to be in the green room with them and it would just smell like the fucking most mildewy, fucking gross, fucking disgusting thing. And they would just all just put it on and just go out there and it's all wrinkly and shit. And they're like, oh, you fuck. They just go out there and just handle it. And I was like, you guys are fucking disgusting.
What band is this?
Flesh God Apocalypse.
God. Yeah.
Dude, the tour life is gross, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't done as much as you guys have for sure. So I can only imagine longer.
It's yeah. I was fantasizing about showering every day. Basically, when I got home, I'd be like, oh my god, I'm taking 4 showers a day, dude. I don't really know why.
Dude,
But
yeah. After a while, you start just stopping thinking about them because you know they aren't coming for a while. You're like, just that we're in the middle of nowhere and I don't know anyone here. So I can't crash the house and we don't have money for a hotel or whatever. So nowadays, I'm trying to treat anything we do like a vacation to where you know, I don't, I can just fund it myself or whatever and be as comfortable as I can do it. That's the way to do it for me.
Yeah.
And I can do that too. So I'm excited to play shows when they come back. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to writing this new album, playing this new album. Yeah, keep music alive and keep it going, you know.
Yeah, to kind of cap this off, because we've been going for a few hours. What are you? So you have something in the works, or what's going on? What's the plans for Ontogeny?
I'm just writing music. Like I said, I'm just playing without recording. That's the new goal. Just play riffs that are catchy to me without recording them, and hopefully I can get an album out of that. If I can remember 9 songs worth of material without recording it, then you'll have an album. That's how I see it.
Just don't get flashed by one of those Men in Black flashlights, and you'll be all good.
Yeah,
save a spot on that shit for me, dude.
Dude, absolutely. Shit, all of you could do a guest on that album. That's
Can I do a guest pinch harmonic? We've been talking about that.
Dude. Get Dan Kenny to
Dan Kenny style, dude.
Yeah, I like keeping my albums collaborative. So absolutely, Anthony, you got a spot on it for sure. Do Casey Howard, you want to do a cymbal crash? You got one. You got a bass slap on it. You can do twist. You can introduce the album.
And you're like, it's just like me like laughing while doing it. And you're like, dude, it's in the moment. I got to keep it, dude.
Dude,
fuck yeah.
I don't know if it was the Hard Times. Real quick about Jonathan Davis, I saw a headline that said Jonathan Davis visibly
I saw that he visibly wrecked as he scats himself to whatever.
He goes into his 4th hour of scatting.
Fucking Hard Times. Shout out to Hard Times, man.
Scared or something like that.
Hard Times has made me laugh like legitimately, like probably 15 times in the last year, which no other fucking site.
Jonathan Davis visibly panicked as he goes into his 4th hour of scatting.
I need to meet those writers.
I think you should do a death metal version of Twist, but not Twist, like your own, like kind of inspired by Twist, like death metal.
Dude, I was gonna do Ball Tongue, which has the same I don't have enough meth mouth to do it though. I can't. But yeah, I was gonna do it. I have a funny corn story too, real quick, in the words of Anthony. We are watching we're watching Korn play Follow the Leader in its entirety. So I'm traveling back to my childhood, and I guess Jonathan Davis's ex-wife just died or some shit. And in typical Jonathan Davis form, he started crying on stage, right? And he's bawling, and the whole audience is silent. And he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, guys. My wife just died a couple days ago." And I'm with Keith, and Keith didn't hear him say that. And all of a sudden, he just goes, "Play Twist." Oh man, that was the best moment ever, dude. You guys cried. You can't escape Twist though.
Dude, Twist will follow you around everywhere, dude.
It's gonna follow you everywhere, dude.
That's fucked up, dude.
Well, that's fucking cool, dude.
I love it.
I love it all, dude. This was fucking great, dude. I had a great time tonight, dude.
I love the podcast, and you guys are I love all the music you guys made, obviously, and thank you for having me on.
Yeah,
awesome.
dude.
Fuck yeah, man.
Definitely would love to have you back, dude.
You too,
Fuck yeah.
Love your vibe, dude. You work well with this, dude.
Yeah,
I'm down, dude. Let me know. I'll always be down. I could talk music for days. So
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Awesome.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Well, cool, dude. Go check out Ontogeny, search that shit, find that shit, support that shit, and support us, Cali Death Podcasts. Subscribe, all that bullshit. Joseph, you got anything?
No.
Oh, I thought you said you looked like you were about to say something. Sorry. No, for real. All right, so yeah, dude. Everybody, check us out. Apple Podcast, YouTube. We'll be back next week, and have a great fucking weekend.
Cheers.
Tube it, dude.